Jr., Mr. Scraby, Matt Scraby, all together in our Odyssey Palace studios today. We got a big day here on the station because, first of all, number one, it's us for 4 hours, 4 full hours on the program today.
Believe it.
Yeah, Tony's settling in over there. But after we're done, not only do you get the Scraby Chronicles for an hour, but beyond that, it's the debut of Sam Levitt's Inside San Diego Baseball.
Right.
That is tonight at 7 o'clock. So guess what? You don't have to flip the channel for at least 6 hours. What is it old Scott Hansen says on Sunday mornings?
Settle in for some
6
commercial-free
hours.
football starts now.
Yeah, I guess we're not commercial free. I can't
No,
quite
we're
make
not.
that claim.
That's a definitely not.
I can't. You got to pay your salary, Tony. Come on. I mean, that's important. So we got to
I
have
love
those.
how Chris has joined in on the Moneybags jokes over there. I love it.
None of us are money bags,
None of
believe
us.
me. But Tony's
Only
the
one of
easiest.
us.
Tony's the easiest target for that. That's all.
There you go.
I could say AJ Preller got it done, and as a result, Mike Shildt is a little more money bags as he gets a 2-year contract extension. And we reported that Kevin Acee had reported that yesterday, and as it turned out, Kevin Acee was right on the money with that.
Any terms released?
I did not see that. The one thing I did see in Kevin's story this morning, which kind of raised my eyebrows a tad, was that according to Kevin's sources, who I trust implicitly, as long as like Scraby's not a source or something like that
I'm
I
not
don't
a
know
source,
about.
Don't worry.
I don't think Kevin would go with that.
I don't either.
source.
Well, I mean, let's not go that
I'm
far.
just saying.
I don't think he would
He
go
would
with that
need 3
either.
or 4
Yeah, he'd need
sources to
something,
back that
something
up.
a little more,
I get
as
that.
opposed
a little
to
more
standard
reliable
2.
than you.
I get that. Well, you
A
guys-
lot more reliable than you.
All right.
But he said in his story today that according to his sources, Mike Shildt was in the bottom third of pay for managers last year.
Oh, that makes
And-
sense.
Yeah, I guess it does since he was in a prove-it type of year, coming in and replacing Bob Melvin and, kind of already being part of the organization. And I think the Padres kind of held the hammer there.
They did.
Where
They
they
had
could
the
say,
leverage.
hey, we're giving you this opportunity, right? I mean, come in. And I'm sure Mike Shildt said, hey, I'll come in. I'll show you what I can do. And he showed him. And now they give him a 2-year extension. And I imagine, without knowing any numbers,
He's not in the bottom-
I don't believe he's in the bottom third anymore. Nor should he be.
No, he
Nor
absolutely
should he
shouldn't
be.
He's,
So,
he's the lead guy for
Yeah.
a team that, by most accounts, even despite losing in a division series, was top 4 in terms of best teams out there.
Top
So,
2, I think,
yeah,
in
in
a
some
lot
cases,
of people's
top 2,
minds.
yeah.
So anyway, the one thing I would say, if you were Mike Shildt, would you have hazarded the risk that comes along with waiting another 13 days until they announce the National League Manager of the Year award?
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
Could
yeah,
that
I
have?
see that.
You see what I'm saying? Could he have waited till? I believe it's the Manager of the Year is November 19th. That's 13 days from now, and they will announce that. If he ended up winning it, he could probably get a little more
I'm sure
money, but maybe he put that in this contract somewhere along the line.
I'm
if
sure
he has a
that-
crafty agent.
I'm sure that Mike and his representative were very aware of,
Yes.
of waiting
It-
to the
let's put it
19th.
this way: if I was aware of it, they were aware of it.
So that kind of maybe speaks to who
Yeah.
Mike Shildt is.
Yeah,
It's
he
not
just said,
something
"Look."
on a high priority list for him to
It
get.
also speaks to the fact that, as we discussed yesterday, I'm going to be mad, but don't be shocked if the 3 finalists don't include Mike Shildt,
Also
which
true.
is ridiculous, but could very well be the case. All right, so we will hear from Mike Shildt on the program today. Had a Zoom press conference a couple of hours ago, so you'll get to hear what he had to say. We'll also hear from AJ Preller, who was part of that press conference earlier today. So that's coming up in this hour, so you don't have to wait too long for it. Russ Dorsey from Yahoo Sports is going to join us before that. He's at the general manager meetings. And, of course, we know – I say Yahoo Sports. He's on MLB Network, too.
He's everywhere.
He's at pretty much everywhere, Russ Dorsey. I don't want to say that we've turned him into a star, but when he was first on this show, he didn't have the same credentials that he has now. I'm going to ask him about that when he comes on.
Yeah, he's moving on up. He was actually we were going to record with him, but he was in a actual conversation with a GM. So rest assured, when he comes on at 2:20, I will be asking him what GM and what that conversation was about.
Yes, Russ Dorsey, he's becoming, and he's deservedly is becoming one of the big guys covering baseball out there because he does an excellent job. He'll be on the show today. I mentioned AJ Preller and Mike Shildt. The Zoom press conference from earlier today, you'll get to hear all of that or most of what they had to say. So that's all coming up in the 2 o'clock hour. 3 o'clock hour, head into the Daily Gambit. We have a sports court coming up today, which means Tony and I will be wearing the wigs today. And I do have a contact out there who is working on robes for us. So this segment is kind of running away with itself a little bit. Yeah.
I got a robe at home you can have.
Well, I don't want that robe.
I don't want your bath robe.
I don't have a robe.
I can't imagine how stinky that might be.
I've never... That's gross, Chris.
Stinky's not the word that I was thinking of. Okay. I don't want to have anything to do with your robe, buddy.
I've never worn a robe in my life, like getting out of a shower. Have you guys done the robe thing?
I also add to
I don't like it.
Me neither.
I hate it.
Because you put it on, and then you have the wet robe.
Robe is one of the sickest items of clothing out there.
Sickest.
I can't stand it. I'm so against robes.
It sounds like a good idea until you actually go through it.
First of all, Scraby's right. If you put it on before you get totally dried off, then it's sticky and messy. But secondly, you fold it over, and I don't know about you guys, but as soon as you tie the thing, it becomes untied. And then everything.
I think that's a you problem.
That's an everybody problem. I tie it, and it becomes untied immediately. Everything you don't want seen is seen.
It's like the when you're in the hospital and you go in. I don't know if you guys had
the
surgery.
Backwards, the backwards thing.
It's like that, but the front way.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So,
I don't mind the back hanging out. If you really want to check out the back, have at it, Doc.
Just next time you expose yourself to the neighborhood, just be like, hey, it comes undone on its own.
It does come undone on its own. I'm never comfortable in a robe. I never have been comfortable in a robe. And it never will be. The only time I can ever even really remember wearing one for any length of time was back when I traveled with the Gulls hockey. They used to make us actually wear a suit and tie on plane trips. I was back in a different age.
That was kind of customary in all sports for a while.
It was a different age. So I had the suit and tie on and got to, I think it was Boise, Idaho, on a trip, and they lost my luggage. And the luggage wasn't going to be delivered till much later that night. We checked into the hotel, and as much as I hate a robe, I'm not a fan of sitting around a hotel room in my suit and tie either. So I discarded that for the robe, and I was basically just uncomfortable the whole night until my luggage arrived.
Did you keep your dress socks on?
With the robe. That's a good look, isn't it? Nothing like a nice crisp white robe and black socks.
Now, which one of the guys on TV wears the robe? Is it Don or Mud? They talked about this.
I didn't
I think
that.
it might be Mud.
Mud is a big robe guy.
He tries on all the hotel robes.
As a matter of fact,
disgusting thing.
As a matter of fact, we often get flicks of him in the robe.
You get videos.
No, not a video, just a picture of him in a robe.
Wait, who's in the robe?
Mudcat.
Mudcat. Sounds like a robe guy.
He's definitely a robe guy.
Yeah.
He enjoys all the experiences of a hotel. Like
he probably opens up the sewing kit that they leave for him over there, and works on that thing for a few hours.
That's why I love that guy so much.
Yeah. You might as well. I mean, you get in the room, you might as well use everything in there.
All right, Chris.
But I cannot do the robe. None of us apparently can.
One choice. You have to wear one robe. You wear my robe, or you wear a random hotel robe.
Random hotel
robe.
But
100%.
But having said that,
100%.
I see where you're coming from. Do they come in at the end of your stay and go in and get the robe off the hanger and wash it before they put it back? There is probably no chance that happens now that I think about it.
Here is the tough part about hotel robes.
Yeah.
They all live and die by the housekeeping eye test. And what I mean by that is it look disturbed or not? Because if it doesn't,
nicely,
If it doesn't, if it doesn't look disturbed, they don't touch it.
Yeah.
And so I say to you, for those who do use ropes, please don't put the rope back. Just leave it on the floor.
Yeah,
leave it on the floor. Leave it on the bed so that they know it's not
you hang
getting
it
touched.
back up. The next person could be the 93rd straight person to wear that robe without it being washed.
So now, do you want to wear my robe instead?
Still want to go with the
Still
hotel
want to go
robe.
with the hotel robe on the off chance that they washed it, because I know darn well yours won't be washed.
Hey, I wash my clothes. Come on. You guys act
clothes
like I'm
are not
some
robes.
Pig pen or
I just
something.
heard how you talked about robes, so I
can't
know
wear robes.
I know that you're not washing.
Growing
yours.
up, my mom was a big robe person. Like,
I'm excited that we found a common ground on something on this show. We've been searching for 7 years,
We really
and we
have.
finally found a common ground. We all hate robes out
Nick
there.
says
Not
that
a
Mud
fan.
just flips through the Book of Mormon with the robe on.
He might be doing that.
They
as
do
well.
provide that in certain hotels.
Yes.
I'm just curious, is anybody out there not named Hugh Hefner a fan of robes? Give us
I'm sure
throw
there
us something on the chat.
Yeah,
Maybe some people love it.
I should say I'm not a fan of naked robeness, right? Like, if I got, some clothes on underneath, like
Okay.
some boxers, cool.
But then that seems to
it does
that
defeat
seems
the
to
purpose. It does defeat the purpose
of the robe in the first
which is why
place.
I don't use a robe.
No robes.
But I'm just saying.
I went to college with a guy.
He was a robe guy?
Oh, yes.
And was it
this guy.
becoming untied, like I said, half the time?
No, it wasn't untied.
But
it
even
was-
if it doesn't come untied, it still splits apart.
Did he come from like an affluent background,
No,
or like
nothing like
the
that.
robes
he just
were
enjoyed
normal?
the robe because he gets cold, he said, when he gets out of the shower. But the problem is when you sit down on the couch,
Right,
or on
it's
a
Yeah,
chair,
yes,
yeah,
exactly.
there
You can't.
is stuff exposed, and he thought
what I
it
just
was
said.
hilarious.
You got to get the old manager crossed leg look in order to sit on a couch.
I think
at that
women
point,
can use
right?
robes because they're used to wearing dresses
Maybe,
that
yeah.
sometimes tie.
Yeah.
But guys in general are not used to that. And so you're right. When we sit down with our knees spread open in a robe,
It gives a view to everyone.
it's not the best look.
And then my friend just laughs on the couch because he found it hilarious that he once again showed us.
I could see in at the college age of wanting to turn that up a little bit after you figured out your roommate was a little uncomfortable with you plotting down, I guess you would say.
Yeah, it's just people need to maybe share their body less.
I got to tell you, this was not planned before
No,
the
this
show.
wasn't. This was not.
Talk about robes
Organic.
for this long, but it just kind of
Organic?
worked
Yes.
into it. All right,
Organic.
We're
Organic.
We're
Organic.
underway. We're underway.
Shut up, Scraby.
Everybody.
I was trying to really give it some oomph there.
Organic.
I hate you, Scraby.
We need to go to break.
Crazy day already. Gwynn and Chris coming up. Russ Dorsey. We'll get into some sports stuff actually when we come back. The latest on the general manager meetings from MLB Network's Russ Dorsey.
Don't have a ton of time, so let's get right to it. Russ Dorsey, Yahoo Sports, joins us. He's in San Antonio at the GM meetings, and he actually had a call scheduled for earlier, but he was literally in a conversation with the GM at the time, so we had to postpone it. But Russ is here now. Russ, how are you, my friend?
My guy, what's going on? How we feeling?
We are fantastic. I got to ask, right? You show up in San Antonio. It's November 5th, 6th. And I would imagine that the GMs feel like it's a little too early to see guys like you. But here you guys are. They're getting ready to have all these conversations, and here you come with your recorder. I mean, is everybody in baseball mode in terms of wheeling and dealing at this point?
Well, brother, I will say this. Maybe I think it's a little too early to see them.
I know that's right.
I was out in California the entire month of October. Only got a couple days at home before getting back in action and getting everybody geared up for the off season. But no, I think a lot of GMs, they, as much as they like the time off and time away, if their teams didn't advance in the postseason, they want to make sure they get their teams better for this upcoming year. So it's a fun time. I think you already feel the buzz of the off season and what free agency potentially holds, and maybe some trades that are on the horizon. But yeah, I think a lot of the executives, even agents who are here, are excited for what the next 8 to 12 weeks have in store.
Russ Dorsey, also catch him on the MLB Network. That's where I caught him yesterday, holding court. And Russ, let's just run to the Padres because I know you don't have as much time. A.J. Preller, honestly, and I don't think this is just a local view, did a hell of a job last offseason. I mean, everything he did worked, and he was able to, despite lowering payroll, put together a 93-win team, the second most in franchise history. This year, I mean, who knows whether they're going to be able to increase payroll, but he has a lot of contracts that increase on their own. He also has a Joe Musgrove injury to deal with, and he has, a couple of key free agents, at least in Jurickson Profar and Kyle Higashioka, and Hassan Kim has already opted out. So where would you start if you were A.J. Preller?
Well, look, I agree with you that I think AJ, and I think a lot of people around baseball would agree that it might be the best job AJ's ever done in terms of putting together a roster with the specific set of circumstances that they had, whether it was, Joe Musgrove's injury late in the year, being able to bring back Jurickson Profar, putting him at the top of that lineup, getting Fernando Tatis Jr. healthy, what they were able to do with their bullpen at the trade deadline. That was a team that a lot of people were afraid of going into October.
Yeah.
And I believed, talking to you guys, whoever won that series in the NLDS between the Dodgers and the Padres was going to end up winning World Series. That did end up happening as the Dodgers defeated the Yankees. But I think when I look at where the Padres should start, I think it is going to be that pitching again, because you have so many of your core position players locked up for the foreseeable future. You can now start to, really focus in on that pitching. And you look at Tanner Scott and what he was able to do in the back end of that bullpen. I think for me, if I'm looking at, an area where you say, okay, this is how you can ensure that you once again have the best bullpen in baseball. I think Tanner Scott, even though he has pitched so well, he is going to have a lot of suitors out there on the market. That's a guy that you likely want to bring back if it's possible. And then you can never have too much starting pitching. As you guys know, you're going to need more than 5 guys to get through an entire season and to get through the postseason, as the Dodgers showed. So I think pitching is where, to me, I would start if I was the San Diego Padres.
Russ Dorsey joins us here, Yahoo Sports. And Russ, you kind of hit on it as you started to answer the first question, but it does feel like, typically GM meetings can go one of two ways. There could be like absolutely nothing happening, or it could be like it feels like it is so far this year, where there's some buzz, there's already some wheeling and dealing. Is that the sense that you have gotten since you've been down that way in San Antonio?
Yeah, I think the first couple of days of the offseason and the GM meetings, it's kind of everybody's feeling each other out. Teams are feeling where other teams are in terms of the trade market. Teams are feeling agencies out in terms of the players that are on the free agent market. Agencies are doing the same thing with teams. What teams have spots on their roster available? What teams might be looking for? You have a lot of agencies that have multiple players on the market. So you have an agent like a Scott Boras that has a ton of clients, a ton of the top clients on the market, whether it's Corbin Burns or Juan Soto or Pete Alonso, all available. You might be talking to one team about 5 different players. So I think it's a feeling out of sorts. And for people that aren't, you're more aware of the winter meetings, the GM meetings kind of sets the table for the offseason. It's where teams say, okay, these are our needs. You meet with your other members of your front office. You meet with other teams. You meet with agencies, and you say, okay, where could a fit be made, right? Like, where could we improve our roster? And you go from there. And then I would say the next couple of weeks before we get to Dallas to the winter meetings, then you're going to start seeing some of these deals come to fruition. We saw Michael Wacha already agree to a deal earlier in the week. So I think you'll start to see a little bit more action as, we leave here tomorrow and head towards the winter meetings.
Russ, what do you think is going to end up happening with Juan Soto, and how much is how much for him? I mean, whether it's the Dodgers, Yankees, Mets, those seem to be the only 3 that legitimately would seem to have a shot at it. Is he going to break the bank here, or how much is he going to break the bank by?
Yeah, I think that's been most of the talk that I've had with people here in San Antonio has been the Juan Soto sweepstakes. I personally don't believe it gets to Shohei Ohtani levels, just because different player, different situation. But I do believe it'll be past $500 million. If I had to put a number on it, I would say somewhere between 550 $50 and $575 million, and that would likely be stretched out over 13 or 14 years. That's a lot of money for a guy who showed that he can perform in the biggest of moments for you like he did with the Yankees. So I don't know what that team is. I think the vibe talking to people this week has been that it will likely be a head-to-head matchup between the Yankees and the New York Mets. I think the Yankees showed him like, hey, this can all be yours, in terms of like Lion King, where Mufasa says anything the light touches is yours, Simba. That's what Hal Steinbrenner and Brian Cashman could say to Juan Soto. But I think at the same time, the Mets actually have a real opportunity here, right? They showed a lot of Major League Baseball what they were going to be able to do going to the NLCS, Francisco Lindor, being the leader of that club. And they're a team that's still on the rise. And the one trump card that they have that other teams don't have is they can pay him more than any other team in baseball because Steve Cohen is the richest owner in all of Major League Baseball. So that's a real threat. And I think the Yankees know that. And it is not going to be a walk in the park to make sure that Juan Soto returns to the Bronx.
Steve Cohen is MLB's Steve Ballmer's on our side. I mean, that's how the kind of money he's dealing with. Last one from me, Russ, and there's been a lot of conversations in regards to Juan Soto and where he possibly ends up. You mentioned that number. AAV is kind of the thing that guys will turn to when they can't get max dollars. We know he's represented by Scott Boras. Scott Boras, at least today, seemed pretty confident. There's a lot of people who've written off Scott Boras after last year's, I would say, disappointing free agency. Some of those guys back at it again. Where do you think, in terms of Scott Boras, how do you think his winter goes? I mean, because a lot of people think he's washed now because he had a bad year last year. I'm telling you guys, I tend to see Scott Boras rise back up to the occasion quite often.
Yeah, I think last offseason was more about the players on the market, not necessarily about Scott Boras. I think Scott, as we have all talked about over the last year, maybe made some missteps. But I also think this year he has, you could say, 7 of the top 12, 13 free agents that are available, right? When you can have the best position player, best overall free agent in Juan Soto available, but also having the best starting pitcher available in Corbin Burns, right? That's a pretty good spot to be in, right? And people can call you washed all you want, but if I have a position player that's going to get $560 million and a starting pitcher that will likely get over $300 million, I'm feeling pretty good, and I'm not really worried about what everybody else is saying about me being washed. If that's washed, a lot of people want to be washed.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt about it. I mean, he consistently gets the best players in the game. Therefore, he will always be relevant. Russ, we know you got to go, man. I know you got that 3:00 GM conference that's about to happen. Appreciate your time, man, and we'll do it again later.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Russ.
Russ Dorsey, Yahoo Sports. A little baseball fix there. We haven't had a lot of baseball news, but Mike Shildt yesterday, GM meetings popping right now.
Maybe next year they just start the GM meetings during Game 6 of the World Series. I mean, he's right. It was like no break at all. The poor guy barely got to go home and wash his robe.
I wish you guys would have asked him because he travels a lot. I wish you guys. I didn't think about it until right this second. But wouldn't it be better just to do these GM meetings while everything's fresh on your mind, and then you have a little break before the winter meetings, and then you have a big break?
You mean like it's done right now?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like that's why they do it.
I mean, I get why they do it, but it does seem like a lot. For the last two teams
alive,
and most of the media members that are covering that, they didn't get very much.
They get no break. But he's right. I mean, the other teams that have been out of it, like the Blue Jays, haven't played for 2.5 months, basically.
They're itching
so they're
to get
ready
back
to
out
roll. So yeah.
All right. Great interview there with Russ Dorsey. Let's get to break. When we come back, we can talk a little bit about the A.J. Preller, Mike Shildt Zoom conference that we got so used to during COVID. More Gwynn and Chris on the other side.
Gwynn and Chris.
Great shot.
Perfect shot. Perfect shot. Nice on. Birdie. Great shot. Perfect shot. Perfect shot. Perfect shot. Nice on. Perfect shot. Birdie. Great shot. Perfect shot. Perfect shot. Nice on. Birdie. Great shot. Perfect shot. Perfect shot. Perfect shot. Nice on. Perfect shot. Birdie. Great shot. Perfect shot.
Matt Scraby, thanks to Russell Dorsey. Outstanding. Some baseball insight from him this hour on 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by our friends at Buffalo Wild Wings.
Beat-ups.
It's football. Head to your local Buffalo Wild Wings. Try their new maple chipotle sauce. Rich maple sweetness and a mild smoky chipotle heat. For a bit of a kick, check out the new Cajun sauce. Rich blend of spicy and tangy pepper sauce. Stop by your San Diego B-Dubs. Or order now for takeout and delivery. Buffalo Wild Wings, go. I like Buffalo Wild Wings. I do. I enjoy it.
Me too.
The food's great. I wish they had a different name.
You don't like Buffalo?
I don't
Wild
like
Wings.
Buffalo. Yeah, being a Miami fan, anything
Ah,
linked to
I got
Buffalo
you.
throws me
So
off.
San Diego Wild Wings would work perfectly.
Miami Wild Wings.
Miami
it's a
Wild
national,
Wings.
It's a national chain.
Yeah, no, we get it.
I get
we
it.
get it.
I
But
get it.
we
And-
want it to be our way.
And I
though.
understand that the wings themselves are not buffalo meat.
No, there's
but they were invented in Buffalo. That is why they're called Buffalo Wild Wings.
You can,
Buffalo. You get buffalo wings. They're not buffalo.
You can be like the
It's a
Menendez
strange-
brothers and try to start something called Mr. Buffalo, which was like buffalo wings.
Got it. Gotcha.
You didn't know that?
the Melendez brothers.
Menendez brothers, yeah. They've been in the news a lot
Yeah,
lately.
no,
in
I
that
know.
Netflix show,
I know they've been there a lot, but
they wanted to start a buffalo wing restaurant called Mr. Buffalo.
why they've been in prison?
No,
Yeah.
this was before they were
Oh, okay.
tried and all that. This
Okay.
was in the. Okay, never mind. I shouldn't have brought it up. I thought.
Yeah, I
it
would
was,
say you shouldn't have brought it
I
up.
thought it was a good
That's
thing. We're talking about buffalo wings.
Down the rabbit hole we go.
Accurate. All right. Big Zoom conference today. Mike Shildt announced as the extension, 2 years, manager of the Padres. If you missed it, here is some of it. AJ Preller started the proceedings with this opening statement.
I mean, for me with Mike, honestly, like dating back about 10 years ago, he was always a guy and that was on our radar as a real up and comer in the game, somebody that really had a tremendous reputation as a winner, a teacher of the game. Obviously did great things in St. Louis. And a couple of years ago, we had a conversation about him being in this position. And even though he wasn't quite ready at that point in time to kind of take the lead chair, He was in the organization for 2 years, just jack of all trades, being around the big league club, and most importantly, getting to know our players, our staff, and our system. This year, seeing him in the major league chair as the manager, obviously a tremendous year for the big league team, a very good year for the organization. And just a really strong year for Mike in that chair as a manager. It was clear that he's somebody that I want to partner with for a long time, and that's what this extension is a sign of. Just a job really well done, production. He took a talented group and got them together really from day one. Brought a competitive spirit to our team. Brought a lot of joy, energy, and happiness to the city of San Diego, and it was a lot of fun to be a part of it with him here this year.
All right, AJ, and on the Mike Shildt introduction. Then, as it turned out, Mike Shildt hopped up there, and he had.
Real quick,
Yes,
before you get
yes.
I would like. Sometimes I would love for AJ to speak like he really speaks. Like
You know it, but we've never heard it.
the cadence.
None of us have ever heard that.
It's
Tony.
like he has a press conference cadence.
Yes, he does.
That he just talk. It's almost like he can substitute out different subjects, and you can get the same kind of monotone.
You should tell him this next time. You should be like, "Hey."
I am going to tell him that. So you should
bit
talk
more.
like you talk on the basketball court.
How does he talk?
I think that would be entertaining.
How does he talk on the basketball court? I'm going to take you.
I mean,
I'm gonna take you.
Well, you know what I mean. He's going to take him to the hoop.
No, I mean he just is he's a New Yorker on the hooper on the hoop court. Yeah,
okay.
He's a New Yorker.
All right. Yeah, it would be interesting to hear AJ in another form.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, here's Mike Shilt's opening statement today at the big presser. I think.
I'm trying,
After
guys.
you gave us a double thumbs up,
I
too.
did, and then okay, here we go.
Extremely blessed, grateful, appreciative of the confidence that ownership and AJ has shown, and not only me being in the organization now going on 4 years, but getting the opportunity last year to manage the club, and now of course this year to now get the extension and like the word that AJ used, the partnering word with AJ in the front office. My respect for AJ is only increased, and my admiration for how he works and how he goes about his operations and how he assembles not only our big league club, but has put this organization in a very, very good footing over the last several years has been very impressive. How he didn't get the Executive of the Year award, I still am miffed. And that's with all due respect to the people that did win it. But he's really a guy that I've enjoyed getting to know. And like he said, it's not always smooth sailing, but we know we're working off the same script. We have the same vision, and that's to win a world championship here in San Diego and be a first-class organization in the industry. And I'm looking forward to working with AJ moving forward on continuing what has already been a start of the best era in Padre baseball. He alluded to it. This club's been in the organization. This organization's been in the playoffs 2022, now 24. I know we're set up for success moving forward, and I expect to work closely with him to the next several years to continue to solidify this being a very impressive run in Padre history.
Very good, Mike Shildt there, opening it up.
Do you guys think
miffed that AJ did not win the Executive of the Year award? I don't disagree with you,
Nope.
Mike, and I want to caution you voters out there: do not get Mike Shildt miffed at you,
No,
because we see how that can turn out sometimes.
that can go go sideways.
That can go cattywampus.
Do you
I
guys
do.
think at all that, one of the main reasons he got the job is because he was with the organization for so much time before?
Not if what AJ Preller said was true. He said he had been on the radar for 10 years
Okay, true.
prior to that. So, to be able to bring him in, and I'm sure when they brought him in, it wasn't to necessarily be grooming him for a manager, but I shouldn't say grooming because he'd already been a manager, but he wasn't a manager in waiting, but as things kind of transpired on their own. He became, because if you remember, after they moved on after Bob Melvin moved on, it was pretty extensive search, or at least how long it took between the time Bob Melvin decided to take the Giants job before the Padres actually, tied Mike Shildt down. They took their time. So I don't know that it was necessarily something they had planned, but tell you what, to have a manager that's been in the postseason and each of the years he's been a manager fall into your lap, basically, it's a good thing to have, good problem to have.
Yeah, we've had some pretty good managers here of late. Mike Shildt is among those. Here's Shildt on his vision moving forward.
We got done with the season, and I know everybody in the organization was a little bit of, in a little bit of a rightful stupor about, how it ended. And then you look up and realize that, a lot of good things took place and started the process working towards next year, as AJ mentioned. And, AJ and ownership came to me about making sure that I felt valued and appreciated, and we were going to do this together moving forward for a longer period of time that was secured. And, obviously I was very, very happy about that. Relative to your question about what that vision looks like, I'm sure AJ can chime in as well, but, it's, we're going to start meetings, tomorrow with our pitching group, Thursday, Friday with our big league staff and player development and AAA group to talk about what we just got through experiencing, what we want to capture from it, and then how we're going to move it forward individually and collectively with our pitching. We'll do our defense and base running, infield, outfield, base running and catching over that Saturday and Sunday. And then we'll do our hitting group on Monday and Tuesday. So the vision is really just a continual process of what we've been able to do and some of the process that we've been able to put in place. The one thing that I was able to share with the staff right after the last game we played, and I said, the good news is we covered a lot of ground and we've got a lot of process that we feel good about. We partner with our players, most importantly, that they're a part of the process and how we operate and how we compete and how we win. But the really good news is that we're just getting started.
Yeah, that's the thing you talked about, Tony, I think, at the beginning, was that Mike Shildt, under AJ, but they wanted to establish the identity of this team.
Yeah.
You can't establish the identity of your team and your franchise and your organization in a week or a month, even in 2 months or maybe even in 6 months. It takes all of that time and everything from day one. But I think now they hit the ground running next year, and that, I think, gives them a big advantage, I hope, going forward. Because, really, again, this season did not start great. They were 500 for the first 3 months, but then they finished fabulous. Hopefully next year they don't have to mess around at 500 for too long.
That's where the patience part comes in. And I highlight the season of 2022 and the season of 2024. It didn't feel like after the 22 season ended, even though it ended spectacularly. It got to an NLCS. It didn't feel like there was a foundation laid. It was like I think Joe Musgrove said it best. It kind of got there and it was like, all right, well, we're here. Let's see how far we can go. Whereas last year, even though that first part was, I'm sure, excruciating for some, as they went up 2 games, went down 2 games, were even for all of the first half, you could see there being a foundation laid. And then when the second half happened, I think it became a lot clearer of what was happening in the first half that made that second half so special.
All right. I agree. Mike Shildt, free agency talk here.
Actually, I adjusted this video. It's going to be, he defers to AJ Preller, and so we're going to go with AJ on this one.
Okay, perfect.
I can't get the mouse to move. I literally cannot get the mouse to move because it's on the desk. This is ridiculous.
Pro Farm Camp, they've been a big part of this thing. Jerkson at different points in time in the last few years, and obviously he had the great year this year. So, he's somebody we're definitely interested in talking to, and he's a real part of what we're doing. And I've already extended out and just started those conversations, but again, he's somebody that he's earned the right to be a free agent. So we'll kind of see where that takes us. Same thing with Ha-Sung. I think Ha-Sung, I think from his standpoint, the injury, as well, that he'll come back from that, but that's all part of the calculus. And kind of that's what this week is for here in at the GM meetings. We've been preparing for this, and this is kind of the start of the off season. So ultimately decided not to put the qualifying offer. That's a $20+ million number on a 1-year deal. Just feel like that wasn't quite the direction we wanted to go to on a 1-year situation. But it doesn't close the door on either player. I think now we get into the free agent period, and we're spending the week trying to see what our options are, what things look like, getting a lot of information from a roster standpoint. And Jerickson and Ha-Sung are going to be two guys that are going to be part of our conversations all off season.
It's interesting to hear him talk about Profar and Kim in the same breath there, because we don't talk about those two in the same breath. And maybe it's just the media or just the thought. No, yeah, right. The media or the thought process, because the media and the thought process around here, as I read it, is that Profar is somebody they're going to want to bring back if they can, and Ha-Sung Kim, somebody they're not really interested in bringing back unless he falls into their lap.
I don't know that the Padres.
I don't know if it's true, but that's kind of the feeling I get. Yeah,
I think the feeling should be more Padres want to bring Profar back, and the Padres would like to bring Ha-Sung Kim back, but Ha-Sung has to want to come back. I mean, he is the one that declined his mutual option and elected to be a free agent. So.
This is only a test. This is a test of the emergency alert system. This is only a test.
This is the required monthly test of the San Diego County Emergency Alert System. Repeating, this is only a
I really wish you guys could have heard my thought before the emergency system kicked in. It was a doozy. I don't remember it now, so
I was going to say you probably can't come up with it again.
you won't get a chance to hear that.
That was just a moment in time.
Yeah,
Daily gripe.
Is that coming? Is that going to
no,
be a part of it?
I actually have one for later, and my eyes. I need to gripe this though. It's 2024. This happens far too often, where I click the button and something immediately starts. I just want to know whether or not I need to click the button, and I'm supposed
Nobody
to click
knows
the
what
button.
you're talking about.
No one
Every
on
day.
the planet.
No one knows what you're talking about.
Okay,
What are
I'll
you
explain it
talking
better.
about?
I'll explain it better. When the
You don't want to say this for the Chronicles?
when the no, because I got a better gripe. When the EAS test, like you just heard,
Yes.
goes off,
Emergency system test.
I have to hit a bed that will start the end music.
Talk to him.
So when I hit the button to start the bed, it automatically starts the monthly test without me accepting it.
You know what you should do? So today is...
No, because it changes all the time.
so it's not going to be a month from today.
No, the engineers are always like, we've told you, it's the third Wednesday, 6 months removed.
The engineer's taking strays right now, not even here to defend himself.
Because I've asked them about this.
So the next one will be the third Wednesday. Well, wait, this isn't the third Wednesday of the month.
I was making it up. I made him sound like Mrs. Doubtfire,
It's the first Wednesday.
This is the first
of
Wednesday of the
November.
month. Maybe next month it'll be the first Wednesday.
No, but it will be in a different time slot. So it's like every 4 months.
So it may not even hit our show.
No, it
could
always
be the
hits our
morning.
show.
It
always
does,
hits our
though.
show.
It does, right?
So I'm just
I
saying.
think it always
I
hits
think
our
the
show.
point is maybe you put it in your little notes. November 6th, 2.
Be ready.
Whatever.
Be
Emergency.
No, but
ready.
you don't get it. I don't know when it's going to happen.
I'm just saying.
It's not even telling me
You can
it's going
start
to
to try
happen.
to figure it out by taking some notes on this.
But it changes to different times every time.
I'm just saying.
So I
Scrape.
don't know.
There may be a pattern that you're not picking up because you don't want to do the extra work. That's all I'm saying.
No, Tony has no idea what's going on with this board over here. So
Fine. I don't. Neither do you, apparently.
I'm just Oh,
let's we got a daily gambit. I'm pretty sure I didn't lose every bet last night.
Haven't checked yet.
I know my Lakers are back in action tonight.
We'll see if they made the board.
Finishing up a long road trip, and they got the Grizzlies, and that means Ja Morant will get his shot. These two teams before, I think it was 2 years ago in the playoffs, things got a little chippy between these two teams.
Lakers
So
eliminated
they did.
Ja Morant
They got rid of Ja.
that time.
So without further ado, let's see how we did in the bets last night. Dave.
Do you like money?
I think about money a lot.
Do you like money without doing anything?
Winning.
Do you want to make money while watching sports?
I think Washington is immortal luck.
Washington! Woohoo! If you answered yes, this is your segment. Just don't blame us when you lose.
Well, nothing is ever your fault.
It's your game. Take it.
Gwynn and Chris go through the top bets of the day in The Daily Gambit on 97.3 The Fan.
Daily Gambit is our daily sports betting segment here on Gwynn and Chris. Please, everybody, gamble responsibly. Before we get into it, Tony, Jocelyn has a question. Is that the giveaway beanie from the Padres?
This is not the pull away
Palm.
Palm.
Yeah.
No, this is team issued right here.
This is team issued.
That's
right
cool,
here.
but I will tell you, with the Aztec basketball team, traveling during the winter as we do, I normally get a team-issued beanie as well. I have like 4 of them from each of the last 4 seasons, and you don't have to wear the one of that year, but if you want to mix in with the crowd.
I appreciate you,
A
Chris.
beanie's important.
I appreciate
on
you,
those
Chris.
trips.
Scravy was trying to shame me for saying I got a team-issued one, but
Some
you
of
know
us
what?
don't have a lot of hair.
I'm cold.
These
I'm
beanies
cold
come in
now.
handy.
This is cold season. You'll see me in beanies often.
I'm not the only one who reacted that way. Team issued, so tough.
I'm sorry. I don't get the giveaway like you guys. They don't walk up there and
It's
say,
true.
"Here you go."
That is
I'm
true.
already in the building, so I don't get one.
That
so,
is true.
You know, I gotta beg for some stuff elsewhere.
I also think Mud and Don went through like maybe 25 of
Now,
those during
because
their promotion.
they're TV stars, they do get some of those giveaways.
They also get team-issued robes.
They get both. Exactly.
Tony will not be in the line for the team-issued robe.
I'll pass on the robe.
The Padre
Last
robe.
one about you, Tony. I Need Money says, I'm kind of a big deal. All right.
I just want to stay warm. That's it.
You can
Fair
stay
enough.
warm. I have a lot of hair in my head, so.
See,
Bowling
there's-
Green
there's
last night.
Another little pot shot.
Minus 14. You can pot shot me with many different things, Tony. I will take my hair. Bowling Green minus 14 over Central Michigan last night. I chose Bowling Green. You guys chose the Chippewas of Central Michigan. Bowling Green did win the game, but they did not win by enough. They only won by 10, 23-13.
There's a win.
You guys get that one. Now, Miami of Ohio was playing Ball State. They were favorites by 11.5 points in the game. Tony and I took Miami. Chris took Ball State. Chris wins. Miami wins the game, but they did not win by enough, 27-21.
The Maction was furious last night.
Action was furious last night. BYU basketball, they were 33.5 point favorites over Central Arkansas. You guys chose Central Arkansas. I chose BYU, and BYU covered for me. They won by 38 points, 88-50. Now, my alma mater, USF, San Francisco, 22-point favorite over Cal Poly SLO.
Let's go, Mustangs.
Dons. Chris chose. I chose the Dons. Choney chose the Mustangs. San Francisco wins, but they can't win by enough. 86-78. Finally, Winnipeg Jets minus 1.5 on the puck line at the Utah Hockey Club. You guys chose the UHC. I chose the Jets.
Utah Hockey Club.
Took a nosedive.
Jets win 3-0.
Jets are 12-1, having a great year. Start the NHL season.
They need to make up their mind. They want to lose when
They've only lost the one game that you picked them
so
to
now
win.
I bet against them they win. I
Right.
see how you're doing, Winnipeg.
All right, here's the records through 2 days of the week. Chris on top, 7-4. Tony right there, 6-5. Scraby trailing the pack, 3-8.
Ooh,
not a good start for you.
I was a 2-week champion
this week. You were. I won last week. I'm just updating that. Here we go with tonight. Memphis Lakers, 232 points. I would do the spread, but I already know that you'd take the Lakers. Memphis is favored by 1, but that's not what we're wagering on here.
232.
232.
Are they still on the road?
Yes, this is their last game of the road trip for the Lakers.
I'm
Go ahead,
going
Tony.
to say over.
Over 232. Scraby.
I want to go with over 2.
You may. They got to have one game under. Maybe they're just a little weary, the Lakers. 2 undefeated teams in the NBA. They're both in action tonight. So let's wager on them, shall we? Or against them. Cleveland Cavaliers, 8-0. Not only 8-0, they're 4-0 at home, 4-0 away. So they've been doing it everywhere. They're playing at the Pelicans tonight. Pelicans are near the bottom at 3-5 right now. Cleveland's favored by 7, Scraby. Does Cleveland stay unbeaten and beat the spread?
No, they don't.
Going Zion?
I'm going Zion.
Going this.
He won it for me last time.
The Pels. I want to take the Pels also at home. I think they're pretty good at home. Cleveland's, 9-0 is too much. I think this is the night they fall. Tony?
Nah, they're going to thump the Pels.
Cleveland again. All right. And then the other undefeated team right now, OKC Thunder. They're 7-0. 3-0 at home, 4-0 on the road. They're on the road tonight at Denver. Denver's 4-3. And OKC's favored by 7 on the road. I got to go with Denver. That's too many points for the Nuggets at altitude. I'll take Denver. Tony.
Yeah, I think the Joker and the Brody are going to take Denver over
there.
the top.
Okay, Scrape?
I'll make up some ground and say OKC.
OKC. One last NBA one. Jason Tatum tonight. Actually, 2 last NBA ones. Jason Tatum, 30.5 points tonight. Over under as the Celtics host the Golden State Warriors. Pretty good matchup. Warriors are 6-1. Celtics are 7-1. Tatum for 30.5, Tony.
I'm going to say this right now.
You may.
If Tatum doesn't get 40 tonight.
40?
For Steve Kerr sitting him throughout all of the USA.
Oh, good one, Tony.
He loses all credibility.
This is
with
Tatum's chance to get back at Steve Kerr.
This is
Didn't even think about
perfect.
that.
It's going to be personal.
So you want to go over?
You're going
I'm going over, baby.
Tony
Way
just
over.
sold me. I'm going over.
Over. Since I don't like Jason Tatum that much, I hope that he chokes tonight trying to prove it to Steve Kerr.
Like 0 for 35?
Right, yes.
That would contribute to a Celtics loss, which I can
would
get on
take.
board on.
I'll take
That's
under.
a win-win for Tony.
I'll take under on Tatum for that reason. Luka Doncic and the Mavs are hosting doubles. Doncic points, rebounds, assists. 49.5.
Who are they playing?
The Bulls.
Oh.
Who haven't had a defensive stop since the Jordan era.
Since, what's that, 96?
Yeah, it's really unbelievable. I watched a little of the game the other night against and Utah's, was winless. They're just getting wide open look after wide open look. I don't even know why the Bulls bother running back there on defense. Scraby Doncic, 49.5
They're
points
playing the Bulls
in Dallas.
How has he been scoring this year?
He's doing all right. He's doing his thing. Yeah. I don't know if I have his stats
He's not
in
like
front of me
Luka-like yet. I'm going to say under. That's
Under
a lot. That's a lot.
49.5. I think he'll have that by halftime. The Bulls are so bad. I'll go over. Tony?
I'm going under.
Under also. Okay, interesting.
That's like 30, 10, and 10.
30, 10, and 10, and that would barely make it.
Right. That's
Yeah,
a lot.
crazy.
That's tough. All right, college basketball. We got 2 games in town tonight. Start with the USD Toreros, who open at home against Ryder.
Don't ever do that again, Scrappy.
What?
Don't mix up my alum, please.
Oh, well, no. I just thought that Chris would lead with the Aztecs. That's why I typed it in.
Okay.
I was also going to say USD is Tony's favorite team, so.
I don't think that's true.
Inaccurate.
The Ryder team coming to town. They're from Lawrenceville, New Jersey.
Wow,
Jersey?
That's a far
Their
trip.
nickname is the Bronx. Not the Broncos, the Bronx.
Ryder Bronx.
Broncs. USD's favored by 1.5.
What? I thought we were going to say like 40.
I did too. USD
1.5.
USD wasn't great last year, and they've lost a lot of their players transferred, including Wayne McKinney to the Aztecs. But I'll have a little faith in Steve Lavin in the home opener. I'll take USD. Tony?
I guess I can.
You
pick
never
USD.
take USD, but
I'm
you're going to take them this time.
Yeah, come on, Mr.
You want
Lavin.
the Bronx, Scrape?
No, considering I've never heard of Ryder before.
Take the Bronx.
I'm not going to
Lawrenceville,
take the
New Jersey.
Because I really did think you were going to be like, they're 40-point favorites.
It was in the paper today, 1.5, so I'm going with that. Aztecs do get their home opener tonight. UC San Diego, crosstown. Last year, the Toreros took them to the wire. And as Mark Ziegler detailed for us yesterday, UCSD has a lot of good players back. Nevertheless, the Aztecs are favored by 11.5. Anthony Gwynn Jr.
You know what it is. Aztecs, baby.
Dem-Tex.
Dem-Tex.
I follow those guys on Twitter. I think they're called Dem-Tex. DEM-Tex. All right, Scraby, how about you here? 11.5.
Last year's result is
Fresh in your mind. Yeah, fresh in your mind.
Because
Sure.
last year we were like, there's no problem. They're going to win by 10.
Right.
I think Aztecs win, but I'm going to say
You're going to take
UCSD covers.
UCSD. I just can't take UCSD. But I think this game has a chance to be pretty interesting. So
Run them off the court, Aztecs. Let's go.
I hope they do. We got one hockey game tonight. Vegas Golden Knights, Edmonton Oilers. 6.5 goals for these two teams.
We're going over.
Tony's jumping the gun.
Sorry.
He wants to go over. Scravy?
Under.
I think these are two of the higher scoring teams just on paper, so I'll
I knew
say
that.
over.
So I picked over.
I know you did.
Tony
You're
religiously
becoming-
watches hockey.
He's becoming a little better of a fan every year. A
little bit more.
Bringing him along
Yeah, a
slowly.
little bit more.
All right, we got a lot of picks today. 8 picks, so we'll see how they do. That's it.
It's hard to go 0-8.
For yes, you did 0-7 over the weekend, which was really impressive.
Spectacular.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to break. On the other side, we've got more Gwynn and Chris. There's some traffic.
Yeah. Crisello, Tony Gwynn Jr., Mr. Scraby, on a day that Mike Shildt officially signs his 2-year extension with the Padres. Continue on being the skipper. ESPN Plus. You know how I love it? I love paying for it.
Uh-oh.
And since I pay for it, I need to read it once in a while. David Schoenfeld, one of the senior writers, I thought had a fun article today. He went back to before the season started. And before the season started, he made one bold prediction for every team. And now he's revisiting those to see how well he did.
He stole this segment from us.
A little bit.
He stole our bit.
Give you an example. Milwaukee Brewers. His prediction was they surprise and win the NL Central.
Wow. Ding!
So he got an A+ for that one. Detroit Tigers. He said Tariq Skubal would win the Cy Young Award.
Ding!
Ding. He's going to get that one most likely. Padres. His prediction before the season was Michael King will be the Padres' best starting pitcher, finishing with a 2.98 ERA and a top,
Wait, he said that?
Yep, and a top 10 lowest OPS among NL starters. He gave himself an A+ for that one.
He should. He might have the. He might have the Back to the Future almanac.
No, because you're going to see some of these other predictions.
Well, he had to keep us honest.
Yeah,
though.
Yeah, that's right. He got that one though.
He has to get us off the trail for a little
As
bit.
he said about this, he said the Yankees won the Juan Soto trade, but so did the Padres. And King was the best starter, 13-9 with a 2.95 ERA. So he didn't miss it by much.
Yeah.
And he said it was a close call between he and Dylan Cease, but King finished with the 6th lowest OPS. He had him in the top 10.
A+.
So pretty good prediction.
Give us a bad one.
He had some stinkers. Let's see. I'll go down to the bottom. New York Mets will be under 500 and trade Pete Alonso.
He
actually was closer to that than he thought.
Yeah.
Esteury Ruiz for the A's will become the first 80 steal man in the majors since Ricky in 1988. I don't think Ruiz even stayed with the ball club.
I think Ruiz got himself in trouble talking about was it ownership?
I can't remember, but he did get himself in trouble.
And
then they sent him down
and
to
brought him back up
yeah.
like the next day.
Didn't work. Bo Bichette will lead the American League in hits for the 3rd straight time and win his first batting title. That didn't happen.
Wow.
Bo hit 237. That one got an F. Nolan Gorman cracks 40 home runs. Jordan Walker hits 30. But the Cardinals missed the playoffs. Cardinals did miss the playoffs, but those two guys didn't come anywhere close to those totals, and both ended up in the minor leagues, I believe.
And that's why they had to reshuffle that whole organization.
D-.
Because those guys.
Esteury Ruiz was wearing one of those bracelets that was like, about I can't remember.
It was
the
about
group
keeping
name.
the team in
It was
Oakland.
about keeping the team in Oakland and kind of like making fun of the owner a little bit. So that
didn't go well for him. Atlanta Braves prediction: Ronald Acuna will be the first MVP back-to-back winner. Since Albert Pujols, so obviously that didn't come true. Dodgers got a D. They require Willie Adames to play shortstop. They did acquire a shortstop, but it was Tommy Edman.
It's about to happen now, from everything that I've been reading.
Texas Rangers, Wyatt Langford will be the Rookie of the Year. That didn't happen. 35 home runs. Anyway, I'm not going to read every one of them. If you want to,
he was going to hit 35 home runs
and be the AL Rookie of the Year. So yeah, I mean, he didn't have very many A's. I just read you the ones that he had.
the 3 that he had.
The 3 that he had, and they were all pretty good. So he was He was hot and on the Padres. One other thing on baseball, we got a minute. This was announced the other day. The Veterans Committee for the Hall of Fame announced its finalists. There's 8 guys that are veterans that are finalists. Among them are Dick Allen, a former MVP with the White Sox. Louis Tiant, great pitcher for the Red Sox, who just passed away recently. It's Tommy John, who not only is named for the surgery, but won well over 200 games in his career. And then the 2 that I'm intrigued by here, Dave Parker and the Garv.
The Cobra.
The Cobra and the Garv. And I don't know, I guess one guy can get in each year from the Veteran Committee, and they meet in December on this. I'm rooting for the Garv because he was one of my guys growing up, but I just compared him to Dave Parker.
It's not close, is it?
It's close, but I think Parker gets the edge.
Yeah. That's
they,
what my gut was saying.
Yeah, they both won an MVP award. Top 10 finishing in the MVP, Parker 6 times, Garvey 5 times. Parker hit a few more home runs. Garvey had a little better batting average. Garvey 10 All-Stars, Parker 7. Garvey 4 Gold Gloves, Parker 3. Parker 3 Silver Sluggers. The where Garvey might get the edges in the postseason, though. Garvey had 11 postseason home runs and 338, twice an LCS MVP. Parker hit 3 postseason home runs, hit 234 in the postseason. Garvey also has the added bonus of having played in 1,207 consecutive games one time, which is still the National League record. Ripken and Gehrig have longer streaks, but both were in the American League. I don't know if those are the two that it comes down to.
What was Garvey's career average?
Garvey was 294. Parker was 290. Yeah,
First
Garvey
of all,
had a
those
better
are
average. I was surprised by that too.
First of all, both of those career averages are
those are Hall of Fame guys.
290, 294.
How did they both get overlooked? I've argued the Garvey thing many times, and he never got anything more than 20% of the vote.
Well, you know, the
But
war.
when you get 10 All-Stars and 5 top 10 finishes in the MVP, Parker had 6. These both should be Hall of Famers in my estimation. I think one of them was going to make it this time. I think they're going to end up taking Parker. I think Parker's got a slight edge on the Garv.
Yeah, Parker. I think speaking of Dave Parker, if you guys remember, he's suffering from Parkinson's disease.
Yes, he did. And he made an appearance at a Pirate game this year that was quite emotional.
Yeah.
Look, Parker, even though Garvey won 4 Gold Gloves, he wasn't a great fielder. He just never really made an error. He didn't have a lot of range. Parker won 3 Gold Gloves, but could throw from right field, maybe better than anybody in the history of the game.
He might have one of the best throws in an All-Star game ever seen.
Everybody's probably seen that a few times. He nailed Brian Downing at the plate. But I think Parker slightly, but I'm kind of rooting for the Garv. Now it could go to Dick Allen, who's got some credentials. Louis Tiant has credentials. Tommy John has credentials.
For those who don't know who Louis Tiant is, if you think of Johnny Cueto, where he does, that is where he stole that from.
But Luis Tiant did it to a whole other level of pausing in his windup. He'd turn and look right at the runner at second base in his windup, and then come home. Yeah, Tiant was fun to watch. Anyway, that's something I'll be keeping an eye next month. The Veterans Committee for Baseball, who gets that nod. But I'm happy to see the Garv recognized. I don't know how this works. Like, if you're recognized this year, can you be recognized again as a finalist next time? Or is there a limit? They have a lot of weird rules when it comes to going into the Hall of Fame. But I think when I just read those career numbers, Garvey especially, 11 postseason home runs. Remember, that was when they just had
2 teams,
an LCS and a World Series. They didn't have all these rounds of the playoff. Garvey always came through in the postseason. So I think that, should hold some weight as well. But those are 2 Hall of Fame players, neither of whom that are in the Hall of Fame, in my estimation. So we'll see how that goes. Scrabe, any thoughts? You never saw any of those guys play, so.
Yeah.
No, he didn't.
Yeah.
I was doing a lot of typing over here.
Yeah, he was paying no attention to what we were talking about at all.
That's one of my tricks.
That's going to be our new thing, is if we eye contact and catch him not paying attention, we should just ask him immediately a question there.
I do listen a little bit. I mean, I heard what you guys said. I just didn't have an opinion on it, so I didn't.
You didn't hear anything.
You didn't chime in?
Talking about the Garv and Dave Parker. And Dave Parker's sick now. And
what's Dave Parker's nickname?
I don't know that.
You didn't get that.
I mean, do I need to know
that?
It was mentioned during the discussion.
A couple times.
The Cobra.
Honestly, I thought you were talking about Steve Garvey.
I know, because you weren't paying attention.
No. Garvey's nickname is the Garv.
Okay, because I didn't want to ask, why is Steve Garvey called the Cobra? Because I know you guys would have crushed me, so I kept it to myself.
That's because you weren't listening. You were partially listening.
No.
Your ears perked up when you heard Cobra, and then you heard Garvey, and so you just put those 2 together.
You know what? He has me figured out, everybody. He has me figured out.
I know. They know, too.
Excuse me. We've had you figured out for like 6 years now.
You have no idea what's going through this brain of mine.
Nor do we want to.
You wouldn't last a day.
We do want to get the sports court. Means the wigs are coming out. So stick around for that with Gwynn and Chris on 97.3 The Fan.
3:36 on the clock. Tony Gwynn Jr., Chris Ello, Matthew Scraby. We've got ourselves a sport court, and if you love Mediterranean food, try Spiro's for authentic Mediterranean cuisine in Coronado or La Jolla. For dining or takeout options, visit spirocuisine.com. I think we're ready for some sports court. Scraby's got a good one lined up for us, it sounds like. Chris and I are in our attire, only missing the robes at this point.
Tony has his hair on, he has the glasses on, and he also has put his team-issued beanie on his head.
This judge is a Padre fan, so he's sporting his team-issued beanie today.
Yes.
All right, without further ado, let's get into some sports court.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Valvoline Instant Drive-Thru Oil Change, your trusted instant drive-thru oil change. Well, crash is cleared on southbound 805 near La Jolla Village Drive, but looks like we can already check ladder in lanes off of our afternoon commute bingo card, because further south in the 805, right at the eastbound King Freeway connector ramp, we have reports of a ladder on that transition. Fortunately, no other trouble spots on our freeways. Stop by any of the 30 San Diego Valvoline Instant Oil Change Centers. You don't have to get out of your car. Usually only takes 15 minutes or less. Plus, get a free courtesy check of your tires and battery. Visit SoCalOilChange.com for directions and discounts. SoCalOilChange.com. I'm Kelly Danick with Gwynn and Chris, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Do you have a sports issue, San Diego? Do you need a third party to make a decision? The guys have put on their robes and picked up their gavels.
All rise. Here comes the judge.
Gwynn and Chris Sports Court starts now on 97.3 The Fan.
So, I didn't get many submissions. I got 2 submissions, and then I scoured Reddit for some other ones.
This guy went to Reddit.
I read a lot of weird stuff on Reddit.
Reddit, you get some of that.
What are you bringing into my courtroom?
You don't know what Reddit is?
Yeah, I do, but I don't venture there very often.
Ooh. Oh, Chris would be so confused in that world.
Chris, it's not a place you want to go, bro.
No, it's a crazy place, but it has some great stories, true or not. Anyway, 2 of them, yeah, true or not, they're great stories. So here's the first one, and this one actually is of a listener of our show, and she says, "My husband listens religiously to your show, and I'm hoping he hears this and takes a hint."
Oh, using the show to get his attention.
This is a good way.
All right.
"My husband is a hard worker, a loving father, but a tremendously childish sports fan. The Dodgers winning the World Series has seemingly broken him. He's been in a terrible mood ever since the Padres were eliminated, and now he's been a black cloud around the house for the last month or so. I had to talk to him about it, and I did, but we did not get anywhere. He said he would try and not let it affect him so much, but nothing has changed, and I have no idea what to do. I decided I was going to give him until Thanksgiving to grieve, and I think this is pathetic. It's even a thing. Chris, before I talk to him one more time, is my husband being pathetic?"
What day did they get eliminated? Do we know?
It's a long time.
It's
been a while.
1 week.
Thanksgiving she's giving him to?
Yeah, that's a long time. That's like 6 weeks. I'm thinking it was 3 weeks, so like October 11th-ish.
You know what? When the Dolphins lose on Sunday, my wife gives me about 4 minutes. And then it's like, enough, all right? You know what? Yeah, I think he's being pathetic.
Ooh.
I'm going to agree with her on this one. This is plenty of time. This was difficult for everybody.
Yeah.
Even, if you weren't a hardcore Padre fan, but just were, following this year, to see them be that close to knocking them out and then lose the last 2 without scoring a run, that was painful.
Yeah, I agree.
For everyone. I had a really long weekend. I know Tony had a long weekend plus. So I think, everybody felt this pain, but I think we've all finally, at this point anyway, moved on from it. So, yeah, I think you're a little pathetic, sir.
That was Chris's decision. Tony, is her husband being pathetic?
Initially it seems a little harsh. Pathetic, such a strong word.
live looking.
But indeed, it fits right now.
Wow.
The Padres. Let me get on my my statistics here. Were eliminated.
Was it the 11th?
We need to find out.
Yeah.
All right, let me look.
It's not hard to find that.
No, I know. I'm going to look right now.
Yeah.
Padres' last game was.
Who's going to get there first?
I'm going. I
Not
need to
me.
choose
I
National League.
clicked
Going
the
to
wrong-
Padres schedule. Last game Friday 10-11. I was right.
You were.
Yeah.
October 11th. We are now
November 6th.
November 6th.
27 days.
Wifey has been kind enough to get this far, quite frankly.
Sir, I'm telling you, I get 4 minutes. And the Dolphins have lost back-to-back heartbreakers the last Sunday, and I've had 4 minutes before I could stop whining about it.
I might get an hour. I might get an hour after
Well,
the
I have
Laker
to-
loss.
I take an hour. I'm only given 4 minutes.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I take the time.
I think this one is going to be unanimous. My man is being a little pathetic. Wow.
Yeah, it's too long.
Got to turn the
Come
page,
on.
man.
Come on.
I hope he's
The
listening
mere
right
fact
now.
that you still have another 21
3 weeks. A long time.
21 days.
It's going to be 7 weeks by Thanksgiving. Let's go.
Yeah. That's a nice wife to
Yeah,
give him
very
7
nice.
weeks. On the chat from M. McKee, bless this man. Although my husband could have written this about me. Also, we have, is this Hannah Woods? No, it was not Hannah Woods. All right, here we go to the next one.
Oh, Woodsy's wife, yeah. Okay.
All right, next one. Fantasy football. A few years ago, our league was won by a guy who had a reputation for being a proud contrarian. When the commish tried to Venmo this guy his winnings, the champ said he didn't have Zelle, Cash App, Venmo, etc., and refused to sign up for any of those services.
You don't want to get paid.
He said the only way he was willing to accept payment is if the commissioner wrote a check and mailed it to him. So the commish did write him a check for his winnings, minus the cost of postage.
Oh, that's even better.
And mailed it to him. The rest of us thought this was hilarious, and it was funny. But when the champ got his check, he went nuts, acting like the commish stole from him. Now, this guy is no longer in the league.
Bring this into my courtroom, please.
Now we have rules. You have to have Venmo or an equivalent app, but there is one guy who pays on time, every time, in cash, and does not want to create accounts on these apps. Tony, should we grandfather him in, or tell him he has to follow the rules, or else?
Ooh. I have a couple questions.
I'll do my best to answer them.
Do we know if...
Approach the bench, counselor.
Yes. Counselor, do we know if these members are pretty... the same members are pretty consistently
It does
in the
seem
league?
that way. It does seem that way.
I think my decision on this is because this individual is consistently paying his money, cash, however he's paying it on time, I think you can grandfather him in for this occasion. Now, he also has to be willing, as a commissioner of a couple leagues, you got to be willing to meet me halfway. If I can't deliver cash in your hand and you need it, you're gonna have to meet me where I'm at.
Yeah,
as
that's
long
true.
as you're good with it, I can grandfather you in. I just don't want to be inconvenienced to get you your money because you don't want to, play ball a little
When
bit.
I won the fantasy league last year, I should have made Tony drive it to my house.
No,
Give me the
you're
money.
gonna get a mailed check just like my man.
With postage out of it.
taken out of it.
Real quick, everybody's asking about the bib that I have. I did not spell. It's just it's part of the. It's part of the.
I couldn't fit that
the
thing
judge
around my
thing.
neck,
Yeah,
so I
did.
gave it to Scrape.
Chris, should we grandfather him in or tell him he has to follow the rules or else?
Follow the rules.
Whoa.
Follow the damn rules. Tired of people just taking it upon themselves to, not go
not do
along
the
with the
rule.
rest
Right,
of the group.
yeah,
I mean,
that's true.
I'm an angry person about, the people who skip the line to get on the freeway without waiting, with the rest of us going the diamond lane. I'm really tired of you people whizzing by me at 97 plus miles per hour on the freeway and changing 5 lanes at once while you're at that speed.
Oh,
I mean, that's very. It's. I don't want to sound like a total off my lawn guy, but it's really dangerous. Come on, not just for us, but for you too. Yeah. Stop it.
What are we talking? We're talking.
We do
about
have some rules.
Fantasy football.
I'm talking about rules. I'm talking about just the general.
Let the judge make his point, counselor.
The general disregard for rules in this society needs a lot of work, and it has to start at the grassroots level, which means fantasy football. You want to play? That's the league rules. Do what the league tells you to do.
But now
otherwise,
I don't want
get
Venmo
in another
to have
league.
all my information. They get all my bank account
Here's the
information.
deal. I have the right as one of the two judges on this panel to amend my decision. And I think Judge Ello makes a great point. I will amend my decision.
All right.
Play by the rules, son.
Come on. And I mean, this whole thing with the Zelle and the you don't want to give your information. They've got your information out there.
Right. I have a very
Whoever they are has your information.
I have a very small digital footprint.
Nobody wants your information.
They've got your information if they want it.
No, they have about 7 years of me talking on this show, too. So.
They've got your information, so stop pretending that you're trying to keep them from it.
Like you're walking around with 100 burner phones all the time.
Now, the jury, the men and women of the jury have a question for
the
Chris.
Chat people.
Yes, the chat. Do you still write checks at the grocery store? Is the first question.
No.
You know what? I want to strangle people who do.
Oh, wow.
Because I don't have that kind of time anymore.
I haven't seen a check pulled out
I've seen a
at
couple,
the grocery store in a while.
I've seen a couple pulled out at Costco.
I've seen it at Costco.
Okay.
I've seen it at Costco.
Yeah, I don't have time
a little
for
bigger
that.
purchases at Costco, so I can see that one.
Thank you for being concerned, but I'm past that.
Yeah.
Another question. Chris. Mm-hmm. It's all about Chris.
Oh, okay.
Does Chris actually know how to use the money apps?
The Zelle.
Fair question.
That is fair.
He knows how to use Venmo.
No, my wife Venmos.
Oh, your wife sends Venmo.
Yeah.
Oh, so the answer is no? I was going to defend you and say yes, he does.
I don't have either of them.
His
downloaded.
He does have one. He just doesn't have his own.
So the answer to the question is no.
No.
Probably no. Probably no. I'd probably have to ask a couple questions before I used it. But my wife handles it, so she's enabling me there.
At least you're honest.
Right.
All right. Let's get to the next one. This one is from Reddit, so no one that we know.
Here we go.
I used to be a lifelong Saints fan, but I quit a few years ago because of emotional trauma. I went a year without sports and decided to jump into the NBA when Zion got drafted. Bad move. I have a terrible habit of getting very invested in anything I'm interested in. Call it hyperfocus. I can tell you any single stat on the team on any given night. I've watched every game of the past 2 seasons. I started off just watching for fun, not many expectations, so last season wasn't bad, but I'm finding myself unable to handle it this season. I don't know why exactly, but I am literally depressed on a regular basis because of these games. I find myself tweeting profanities at the GM for building a roster
You're one of these guys?
that literally even my newbie self can understand is just awful. I don't know what gets into me. This is not Chris, but it sounds like Chris. Chris, am I a normal sports fan?
He coming in our court with questions?
You're close to a normal sports fan. Because I think that,
depression every day?
I was going to say, there's a tad of depression for every Bulls loss, and they've lost hundreds over the last few years. But every night I get the final result. There's a few minutes of, and I get a little happy when they win. Probably not as happy as I should, and more upset than I should when they lose. So I think that's normal. But if you start writing the general manager and, it's carrying on for hours and hours, and you're really having trouble, even coexisting with the rest of the world, then yes, you're not a normal fan.
Tony.
Yeah, I would agree with everything Judge Ello said there. I think the mere fact that you are sending DMs to GM is you've
just tweets. It said no DMs.
Oh well, okay.
I'm sorry, tweets. And if you are really atting the GM too, Yeah, you got some issues there, man. I think you have crossed the line from fan to crazy person. So
I want to know what happened with the emotional trauma of the Saints. Was it just Drew Brees and Sean Payton
I mean,
leaving?
you remember Saints fans for a long time had paper bags on their head. I don't know how this how old
they didn't
this
start
young
being
man
called the Saints until Drew Brees got there. They were never that before. They were always the Aints.
Well,
and they're returning to that.
Ain't got
form.
it.
I can tell you right now, this guy's weird. This guy's really weird. You need to
he
stop letting it.
He didn't call into your courtroom and ask you for your opinion.
He
buddy.
needs to, maybe let life come to him instead of being so worried about things that don't really matter in the scheme of things in life.
Listen to you non-sports lover.
Yes. When the 49ers lose, it bothers me for 3 minutes, and then I move on.
Not true. You come in miserable the next day and beyond.
Yes.
I know I come in
I
and
give
I
you a
trash
couple of
my own
days
team.
there.
Yeah, I mean, just because you trash, that is your form of coping, is you trash your team. That's what you do. You trash it.
Okay.
Some people
Fair
get
enough.
depressed. You get angry and to trash your team.
And I don't care for that at all. I always support my team.
Oh,
I get
that is
angry
not
at
true.
I get angry at Jalen Waddle when he drops a wide open 3rd and 10.
Did that happen this week?
What
Nah,
about when
I
he
don't think
went?
this week, but it
Okay.
happens most weeks.
What about when he lost 22 yards at the end of the game?
That game was over.
All right, last one real quick. And I'm not really sure if this one is true or not, so take this with a grain of salt. This person did write into me. I can't believe you guys talked about me or my very same problem the other day. My wife is a hoarder, and I mean bad. The only reason we aren't on the TV show is because I make her throw away the big stuff. She's kept everything. And when I say everything from our 3 kids growing up, I mean shoes, clothes, school projects, etc. This is sitting in our garage, and I need it out. So for the last 3 months, every other week I take one of the boxes of clothing to Goodwill.
Without her knowing?
She hasn't noticed, but she will eventually, and I'm actually worried about my future. Tony, do I need to tell her before she finds out?
Oh, man. I think you should stop throwing stuff out and not tell her. Because what I can tell you is moms have a hard time letting go of all of that stuff that you
boxes upon
I
boxes?
can't imagine. I'm very fortunate. My wife is not a hoarder. She despises
clutter.
So, I mean, a lot of times I'm like, maybe we should keep that. Nah, it's going in the trash. So, I would suggest, this isn't really a ruling, but stop throwing stuff. I think you've gotten ahead of it a little bit. And then tell her, and then not tell her. That's what I would say.
Chris?
You're in a little bit of a pickle here. And I think Tony's extracted you from it. Stop doing it, and before you get caught, but never tell her. Because you're going to go beyond. You're going to go to one of those 8 dog houses she has saved up in the backyard.
That's a good point, Chris. Jocelyn makes a good point. I watch hoarders, and they get very angry about their stuff being touched.
I didn't want to question my man because he said that, she's allowed him to. Most hoarders, you can't throw a single thing away, and they know.
Yeah, if you're on that TV show, you are.
So maybe
keeping
she's
everything.
not that level yet, but I would suggest stopping while you're ahead and not saying anything.
All right.
All right, that's going to do it for Sports Court. Court is adjourned. Gwynn and Chris on the other side.
833-288-0973.
To the real world without any hair. Chris Ello, Tony Gwynn Jr., Mr. Scraby, Gwynn and Chris on San Diego's #1 sports talk station, 97.3. Going to play a little Chris versus the fans here shortly. Big goings on today in the Padres organization with the official word that Mike Shildt has indeed been signed to a 2-year contract extension. Padres had a Zoom press conference call earlier today. Both A.J. Preller and Mike Shildt spoke, and Shildt is in till 2027, and who knows, maybe even beyond that. Otherwise, pretty quiet day in the sporting world. Got some games coming up tonight, including the Aztecs home opener out at Viejas Arena, 7 o'clock against UCSD. Mark Ziegler did a great story today, as he always does, breaking down all of the new Aztecs on the roster. And, I mean, you read this article, and one guy sounds better than the next, Tony. So, you know, I have no doubt that Brian Dutcher is going to have talent. It's just going to be guys we don't know yet as he tries to put together another, you know,
I think that's the fun part about
College,
following
I
this
like
Aztec.
it. When college sports used to be like this, where you would develop guys for 3 or 4 years, and then new guys would come, and you'd develop them for 3 or 4 years. A lot of the college sports have lost that because of the transfer, but the Aztecs are kind of old school.
It's going to look like that in elements of the Aztecs roster, but, Dutch seemingly is always bringing in a couple freshmen that come in and, you kind of bring them into your environment and teach them kind of the things that you make this program go the way it goes. And, I think this is the fun part, right? What we know is that, again, we've been talking about foundation a lot, as we were talking about with the Padres. In the same way, the foundation is laid for the Aztecs program. It's fun to see, how everybody develops after they get a little bit of their own foundation when they're new to the program. And so it's going to look a little different this year, as last year looked different from the year before. But what you can expect now with the way that this program is ran, that it's going to turn out in a competitive way, one way or another.
They're going to be right there.
Yeah.
They're going to be right there, and it all starts tonight. And I don't want to overlook what UCSD has done in just a few short years at the Division I level, to the point where, I think the Aztecs would be silly and will not be overlooking them at all tonight. So it should be a fun game out of Viejas Arena. Also, USD opens tonight against Scraby's Rider Bronx. They're
not mine.
They're not yours.
No.
One last thing before we get to Chris versus the fans. Our old friend Austin Hedges?
Oh, the Hedgehog, yeah.
Yeah, the old hedger.
The Hedgehog.
The Hedgehog. Nicknamed Hedgie, according to his baseball reference page. Austin Hedges today signs a 1-year contract with the Guardians. Stays there, $4 million a year. Hedges last year, 2 home runs, hit a .152, and that's not really far off his career average of 186. I bring this up because Austin Hedges is a survivor in the game of baseball, and he's done it by leadership ability, being a good teammate, being able to, work with guys, be able to bring young guys along like Bo Naylor in Cleveland. He was with Texas and got a World Series. I know we kind of poke fun at Hedges from time to time, as, going back to his Padre days. I would take his career, Tony. It's, it's not a Hall of Fame career, but he's looking at his 11th season next year. Still making pretty good bank. It's good work if you can get it.
This is, this is kind of what I'm constantly on, because, yes, to the numbers and what we know to be a quote-unquote good ball player in Major League Baseball, his numbers don't support that. But there's so much more to what being a good teammate is, and being an asset in some way to a team that doesn't always show up on the stat sheet. And Austin Hedges, say what you want to say about him, is definitely one of those guys. I'll be honest, I think he's always modeled himself as one of those type of guys. He knew the bat was not going to be his strongest weapon, but he knew he could defend, and he certainly knew he could handle being a good teammate. And so that's pretty much what you hear everywhere Austin goes. I'm sure there's a lot more to be desired with the bat, but he can catch, and a team like the Guardians finds him valuable.
Yeah, I think there's something to it.
For sure.
I've never been the biggest, but anybody that can survive as long and do what he does, I give him credit for it. All right, Chris versus the fans. Scraby says, let's go, so let's go.
If you had one shot, one opportunity to take down the human almanac himself,
howdy do.
Now is your time.
Listen to me, this guy is dangerous.
Now is your opportunity to win a prize.
Well, I hope you know what you're in for.
Chris versus the fans starts now on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, the rules. You have to make it through 3 questions. Each question will get more difficult. If you get the question right, you move on. If you get it wrong and Chris gets it right, you're eliminated. But if Chris gets it wrong, then you move on to the next question or you win. If you're a first-time player, let us know before you get into it, and you will get that first question for free today. Chris vs. the Fan is presented by SD Fat Loss. Lose 20 to 30 pounds in just 60 days. Visit sdfatloss.com to schedule your free consultation. And I don't think we said what we're playing for. A pair of tickets to Tom Segura this Friday at Pechanga Arena. Get your tickets now at axs.com.
I was happy with yesterday's winner.
Oh yeah, your
because,
friend.
No, Tony's friend.
Chris Bank.
Who you erroneously called
accused
a cheater.
of being a cheater.
Accused him more than once, I might add. But no, what I liked about Chris was that he said he was going to go buy tickets to this show and ended up winning them. So I was happy about that.
Boom. All right. Who is our first contestant there, Scraby?
Whatever you do, don't hesitate before you answer, because Scraby will come after you.
He's not paying attention.
Yes, he is. He hears.
Yeah, I'm here.
He pretends, but
Okay.
he hears.
I will. I mean, it's my job to protect the integrity of the game. So.
All right, Doug Harvey. You don't know who that is. Former umpire. Mike Winters.
Yes, I know who Mike Winters is.
All right, well, that's you.
All right, here we go. First
There we
contestant. Let's get to Jason.
Hi, Jason. Happy Wednesday.
Hey, good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good afternoon. Love the energy, Jason. Here we go. First question. What former San Francisco Giant is now an executive for the same San Francisco Giants?
Okay, I'm not a cheater, so I'm not stalling for that reason. You got me on this one. I don't know.
Uh-oh.
Didn't hear
doesn't
that
know.
news bulletin. I believe you're looking for Buster Posey here.
Chris even knows his real name.
Buster Gerald Posey.
No, I didn't know that.
I thought you did.
I might have at one time.
Gerald, yes. Did you know he played all 9 positions in a game in college? In one game?
At Florida State?
Yep.
I did know that.
There's 3 or 4 major leaguers that have done that.
Big leaguers, buddy.
Big league game.
Oh, they've actually played every position
Yes,
in the game?
Cesar Tovar, Bert Campaneris were 2 way back in the day, and I think someone did it more recently, but I have to look it up.
All right, I'm going to need another contestant there, Scrape. Alex, come on down.
And Alex, another shot here.
Hey, happy hump day.
Happy hump day, Alex.
Oh,
How are you?
Scott Sheldon, Texas Rangers, played all 9 positions.
Was that the most recent?
Those are the 3. He was the latest. He did it in October of 2000, right at the end of the year.
Did you guys know Buster Posey did it?
Yes, in the minors we did.
No, in college.
Oh, in college.
Here we go. First question. Who was the World Series MVP?
This year.
This year.
Yes.
I think it was Freddie Freeman, so I'm going to go
I'm going to go with it.
Freddie Freeman.
Freddie, you gave him a tremendous
I didn't see Joe Rogan Fred this time. It's probably because I turned off the coverage as soon as the game
we
was
all
over.
did. Yeah, I don't think any of us watched the celebration
They
this year.
kept the Xannies away from him this time. Here we go. Question number
And they
2.
gave him a mic that worked.
Yeah. Ooh, I have a new style of question, Tony, that first one.
No, I'm about to use it right now. In 2024, I hit 200.
Or no, it's batting average, sorry.
I hit 267 with 8 home runs in 91 games. Which Padre am I? 267, 8 home runs in 91 games. Which Padre am I?
From last year's team.
Last year's team.
2024.
2024.
Okay, I'm thinking it's either Peralta or Solano.
Didn't need an answer, sir.
I'm thinking probably, I think Solano hit a higher batting average, so if I were to pick between those two, I would go Peralta.
Is that Wandy or David? No, I'm just kidding.
David.
Yeah.
Wow, that was a great way
That
of
was a
getting
great
through
way
that.
of getting to
You
that
got it.
answer there.
You
I like
got
that
it.
very much.
good.
Yeah, I thought
Alex.
you were going Solano for a second.
I did too.
but
He was like, but when he said Solano had the higher average, I was
He was
like,
right.
okay.
He's on this
He was
one.
right. Good
Question
job.
number number 3.
David Peralta.
Oh, this is a great question, actually. What Hall of Fame player was taken directly after Jamarcus Russell in 2007?
Jamarcus Russell.
It's a great quarterback.
That's a really good question, Scraby.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's all right.
It's because Chris doesn't know the answer.
Can you tell me what position he played?
I
Nope.
can't.
It's question number
Boy,
3.
they're not going to do it for you. That's code.
Hall
of Fame player. He's
Hall
already
of
in the Hall of
Fame.
Fame?
He's already in the Hall of Fame.
Damn, that didn't take long.
Tony?
How about 2007? I'm thinking Megatron.
I'm sorry. Hold on. We have to, Tony and I have
There's
to
some
talk.
deliberation happening here.
Tony and I have to talk because I protect the integrity of the game.
I don't know. I think you should give it to him, man.
Oh, you're way too nice.
I'm just saying, that's a third question. There should be some time allowed.
Gotta have a little time
question
to
number
think it
3.
through.
You know, the original rule was when the bed runs out,
Yeah,
your
but this is
time
question
up.
number 3. The bed needs to be longer then.
Chris?
Wait.
I would
Here's-
say Megatron now, but I didn't know
Wait,
the answer,
wait,
so I
wait,
think he's
wait,
going to win
wait.
either way.
Before you say anything else, can you give me a last name?
You want me to say it?
Yes.
Yes.
Calvin Johnson.
There it is.
All right,
I think you got to give it to him.
All right.
I can tell. I'm going to give it to him because I wouldn't have got it right. I'm going to tell you that right now. I had no idea. You know me with the draft. I don't know these things.
Some
Nice work.
suspect results
stop
here in the
it.
last
Stop it.
2
Get
days.
outta here, dude.
Stay
Alex
there,
is the guy
Alex.
that's going to take you to the concert. Stop
I already
whining
told you.
about it.
He's not taking me to the concert.
Working in cahoots with him anyway.
Nice work. That was
That was well
impressive.
done, Alex.
That
We
was
also
impressive.
got the second one, which was a tough one.
To follow up after Calvin Johnson, stay there, Alex. I might get you in the break. Who was taken third? Another Hall of Fame player. The Raiders passed on 2 future Hall of
They
Famers.
took Jamarcus Russell.
Yeah.
Calvin Johnson. Larry Fitzgerald.
I have no idea.
No, Joe Thomas.
Joe Thomas. What's he?
offensive lineman.
Do you
Cleveland.
realize in that 2007 draft, in the top 14 picks, there's 4 Hall of Famers already?
That's good.
Calvin Johnson, Joe Thomas, Patrick Willis, Darrell Revis, and they also have Adrian Peterson before them.
I tell you what.
Patrick Willis is in the Hall of Fame?
He just made it.
Wow.
I tell you
That was
what.
quick.
I remember Calvin Johnson getting drafted out of Georgia Tech. And I remember him getting drafted and then putting the highlight film up there.
Mhm.
And I was like, I have never seen this dude play. He was wearing like 21 or some crazy number like that.
Like a running back
Yeah,
number.
he's just like, all right. And he turned out to be like one of the best wide receivers ever.
He did all right.
Number 4 overall. I just love looking at past drafts because these names are crazy. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers selected with the 4th overall pick, Gaines Adams, defensive end.
I don't know Gaines.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Mel Kiper said he's going to be a superstar.
I knew he was
gonna find a
Gave
way
us
to
his
get Mel in
measurables
there.
on that one.
Do you know?
Oh man, I love this pick, Chris.
Do you know who my
Gaines Adams, man. I measured him at 4.2 in the 40.
Do you know
It's great
what
for a big fella.
the Dolphins selected with the 9th overall pick in that draft?
In
Crowder?
2007, somebody
Yeah.
terrible.
It was yeah, they didn't pan out, but they were very highly touted coming out of college.
They?
I don't know.
Or he.
Who?
Yeah, what did they do? Get twin brothers in the 9th round?
Ted Ginn Jr. was your pick in 2007.
You know what? He actually became a better player after he left.
He went to the 49ers.
He did a little something.
After
there,
he
yeah.
left
was a good kick
Miami.
Not
returner.
much. Yes, he was a good kick returner. That's what you want to use your number 9 pick on.
Hey, you passed up on Patrick Willis and then Darrell Revis, so
Yeah.
maybe you guys weren't looking for defense in that draft.
Maybe we just aren't very smart.
Or that.
All right, Alex is the winner today. We'll have another Chris
Nice
First
work,
the Fans mañana. In the meantime, we step aside for a quick traffic check, and then we're Gwynn and Chris.
From the 97.3.
Great shot. Great shot.
kind of mood are you in today, Tony? What'd you say?
I'm in a good mood now.
It's about to get worse.
Oh, God, why do you do
Lakers
stuff
haven't
like
started
that?
yet.
Lakers star big man Anthony Davis ruled out of tonight's game against the Memphis Grizzlies.
You lied to us, AD. You said you were going to play today.
Tony might be sending him a text or a tweet right now.
Oh, my goodness. Everybody just got to see Tony, the sports fan.
That's right.
There's
Tony's reaction. Yeah, I knew you wouldn't like that.
He said after the game when LeBron was being asked a stupid question about what would happen to the team if AD is out, you heard him in the background say, I'm not out. So what's up, brother? Supposed to be in the lineup today.
He's
man.
not. J.J. Redick, though, said he planned to play backup center Christian Coloco against Memphis. Do you know who that is, Tony?
I do. He's he just came off of like an injured list, I think
He was on. He's been out of action since April of last season because of a blood clot issue.
Yeah.
Coloco.
They're excited about this kid.
I don't know a whole lot about.
I can't say I do either.
Coloco went to Arizona. 7-footer.
You know he can hoop then if he went to U of A.
7-footer. I believe Ryu Hachimura will also miss the game tonight.
He's got sick. He's cold. He's cold.
He got sick?
Yes. Illness.
I mean, I'm not with Scraby very often, but these guys shouldn't get sick, man. They got trainers everywhere.
I thought he was going to go in a completely different direction. Like, you can't help if you get sick.
No, I mean,
how are you supposed to avoid getting sick?
I'm going to knock on because a lot of us don't really get sick, and I shouldn't have just said that because I'll probably miss shows
on the
next
contrary,
week.
I think all of us get sick. Some of us just power through it and come on in and get everybody else sick.
Yeah, someone, Chris, comes to work, says he's not sick, even though he's like...
I know you didn't just cough Chris like that, did you? Because I do recall someone passing
somebody gave me COVID.
COVID,
and that was you.
I didn't know I had it at the time.
Oh, okay. So you were down there just passing around COVID, is what you're saying.
I would not have come to work if I felt like I did when I left work.
Have either of you gotten sick because of me?
No. Probably.
No,
Tony, how many
have
times
not.
has Chris come in here sniffling and coughing, telling us he's just fine?
He definitely has done that
I
a couple
sniffle
times.
all the time.
I can't say that I've been giving anything from you guys.
Right.
So
there's
that. Where shall we go?
All right, I'll cough in your food next time.
That's just over the top there, buddy. You'll be happy to hear this news. Patrick Mahomes, able to move around, won't be limited. You were so concerned about his ankle and him.
I got some support on this, by the way.
Yeah, it's probably from all the rest of the Kansas City Chiefs haters out there, Patrick Mahomes haters, that you're getting that.
You can't be mad at Paul Pierce for doing the wheelchair thing
if
you're not mad at Patrick
I can be
Mahomes.
mad about being wheeled off a court.
That's basically
with
what
your
Mahomes
leg
did.
extended, like, oh, we got to keep it up.
Wheeled off the court to go potty.
And then you came running back out, only to be the best player on the court.
Basically
That's
what
not
Patrick
the same.
Mahomes
No.
did.
Patrick Mahomes did not go to the locker room and come back out jogging.
I mean,
no, he went into the blue tent, came out, and was like sprinting on the sideline.
That's
it's
an ankle.
If you're going to talk about Fatrick that way, you better have some.
I did not call him. Oh, that's his nickname. I forgot.
Patrick Mahomes.
That's so messed up.
That's cold-blooded, man. So it looks like he'll be fine as well, moving forward.
Who are they playing this week? Chiefs? Another
Denver.
I hope they
Denver at home.
I hope they hang 81 on
81.
And they're running all those trick plays on the goal line when they're up by 81.
I hope they're doing it. They're all.
And then I want Sean Payton to say correctly, "Hey, that's cool." Because he did it to the Panthers.
They're trying to finish a game out there.
That's
what I want to hear from
That's what I want to hear from you, Sean.
The Panthers say Bryce Young will get another start. Of course, what's the redhead?
Andy Dalton.
Andy Dalton is back now.
Yeah, but
he won't be starting.
That's not much to beat out.
No, it's
and
not.
Young won his last game. Good for him. He threw some good passes, made some good decisions.
Got me some more points.
Andy Dalton is not going to take the Panthers anywhere, so they might as well ride it out with Bryce Young.
But you got to think at a certain point, the players on the offense and the defense are like, this dude can't move the ball. We have no chance with Bryce Young.
They they definitely were saying that about Andy Dalton as well after the first game. It was
Andy
like,
Dalton put up some stats though.
The first game, and then
first
he
game,
went
and
right
he
back
did
to
nothing.
Andy
There we go,
Dalton.
look.
By the way, Andy Dalton's been in the league forever. He should have some type of feel for what's happening in the NFL.
I got
to
tell you one thing. I think the whole country of Germany is going to give up on the National Football League by the end of the weekend, though.
Yeah, their game is pretty bad.
We're sending them the Giants and the Panthers for the first ever game. Is it the first ever game in Germany? Or is there
No,
been
they
one?
had.
No, I
they
think they
had
had one last
some-
year,
Yeah,
didn't they?
it
Yeah.
was. The rumors were that the Patriots lost in Germany and they were going to fire Bill Belichick on the way home, but they didn't. They waited till the end of the season.
Giants Panthers is the 6:30 a.m. Game, but it's from Germany. That's how did they predict before the season that those would be just two of the most god awful teams, and not only god awful, but just as boring as you could possibly be.
Maybe they're so bad they can't tell the NFL no. It's like, oh, you two teams are definitely going.
Or maybe those are popular teams in Europe.
Maybe.
Patriots probably have tons of fans everywhere.
Yeah, I got to believe that the Panthers are incredibly popular in Germany.
I've heard Moldova.
There's no question.
I've heard that they were popular in Moldova, Chris.
A lot of Panther jerseys being sold out there.
Quick hot take on baseball. I think Scott Boras is going to get the last laugh this offseason.
In terms of he's going to get all top dollar this time around?
I think his guys are going to do very well this year. 7 of the, I think what Russ tells us, 7 of 13, I think, are all his guys.
Yeah, but I don't know.
I know you guys want to hope that the Shark is losing his power, but I don't think he is.
Well, Adrian Morejon left him today and
He
went
did.
to Dan Lozano.
Dan Lozano, I believe that's Manny's agent as well.
That tells me something.
Also, Albert Pujols is at one time.
Oh, okay.
So, I don't know if that means anything to anybody, but that's the decision Mr. Morejon has made.
He's probably like, I don't want to wait around all offseason while Scott Boras deals with other people and
I mean,
forgets about me.
Here's the thing about having 7 guys of the 13 top. All of those dudes are going to be the priority. So if you're not one of those 7, not to mean that you won't be a priority, but you won't be a priority.
Like, Scott Boras has his own firm. So,
yeah, so there's not just Scott
I was
handling
gonna say,
every single contract.
like, I'm just using Adrian Morejon as an example. Would he just be like, oh, we're going to put my paralegal on this
No,
one?
I think Adrian is a guy that Scott
Okay.
would still be doing.
But
the
he
work
could
for.
do that to other players that aren't as
He
established.
could, but I don't know that he does. I think he's got this stuff pretty dialed in. He's been doing this for quite a long time. All right, enough little talk. Let's get to big talk, as in Big 5 talk on the other side. More Gwynn and Chris.
The biggest guest.
All right, opening night for Aztec basketball. UCSD, 7 o'clock out at Viejas Arena. And USD also opening tonight across town against Ryder. Good to have the college basketball season upon us. Also, UConn is playing their first game tonight as they begin the two-time defense of their title. Without them, who knows, maybe we'd have 2 straight championships. Yeah, well.
I don't know about that.
I don't know, right?
I mean, they're right there.
Padres lost to the eventual champs.
That's true.
Aztecs, 2 years in a row, lost to the eventual champs.
That's true.
Does that mean we're going to be the champs then at some point? Since we
I wish
lost
it
them?
did mean that, Tony. I wish I could say that it meant that, but really don't believe it does. Aztecs football, they got a Friday night game this week, if you're wondering, against New Mexico. And is Kirk Kirk's in the Big Five.
Kirk's in the Big Five. Kirk will be on the show tomorrow.
Kirk will be on tomorrow, but he was telling me, or somebody was telling us that.
Don't. I know where you're going, and I'm about to give it away.
Oh, you're gonna. I don't want to give it.
Are we talking about grass?
I am.
Okay. Yes, it's going to be in the Big Five.
All right.
It would be nice if you would read the Big Five.
I was going to have a different approach to it, but I won't go there. I'll just let you regale us with your Big Five after traffic.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by SDG&E. Well, guys, we got some very windy conditions around parts of the county. In fact, eastbound 78 before Sycamore, watch out for a tumbleweed reported in that right lane. Further east on the 78 past San Marcos Boulevard, there's a collision involving a couple cars there over to the right shoulder. Southbound side of the 163 before Friars Road, 2 vehicle accident over to the right shoulder. We've also got a collision reported on the Rosecrans on-ramp to eastbound 8. In peak wildfire season, as a last resort, SDG&E may need to shut off power in specific areas for public safety. Learn more about public safety power shutoffs at sdge.com/PSPS. I'm Kelly Danick with Gwynn and Chris, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
It's that time of the show when we check on the latest in sports. Only the most important topics and questions are brought to light.
Stop what you're doing and listen.
These news stories will astound and amaze you. The one, the only.
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
The Big Five starts now on 97.3 The Fan.
You know what, Chris? That was rude of me to say that to you, but I just felt like we could use our time in the Big Five.
I want to just point out something, not along those lines.
Oh, okay.
If you're ever looking for a fun little moment during the day, actually pay close attention to Kelly Danick's traffic reports.
You should.
There's really some little funny things in there from time to time that I think a lot of us miss, including, and I don't think she made this up, but she said that the traffic was slowed on the one freeway out there because of a tumbleweed.
That was said.
I'm like, can we not just drive over a tumbleweed?
Nope.
So
really?
It's a fugazi. You don't do it. Your car isn't ready.
No.
Don't run over the tumbleweed.
It gets stuck under your car, then you're digging tumbleweed out for the next year.
Really? So the tumbleweed is a fugazi?
It depends on how big the tumbleweed is, but if it's a big tumbleweed, do not.
The ones that I'm thinking of are, you don't want to run over those ones.
Yeah. Yeah, those are bad.
All right, then.
But yeah, listen to Kelly Danick's traffic report.
Yeah.
She usually calls someone an idiot, too. So.
And anytime somebody's called an idiot and it's not me,
or me,
I'm happy about that.
Me too. The Big Five is brought to you by Summit Subaru of El Cajon. See all the 2 ways to save right now at summitsubaru.com.
Number 5.
And we are going to start with Kirk Kenney and the Aztecs. I was reading his article in the UT yesterday. Did you guys know Sean Lewis has an agricultural journalism degree?
I think you mentioned this yesterday.
Yeah, he can.
You're mentioning it again today?
What is an agricultural journalism?
No idea. He knows how to grow stuff, but it's not grass, he said. He's going to leave that to the professionals. But the article was about the grass issue at the stadium, and the players that Kirk Kenney talked to had a really interesting response to playing on the sandy Snapdragon field. They use it, they say, as an edge over the visiting team. Quote, "It has to be an advantage for us at this point. We know what we're going into. We know what we have to do. Planning off one foot, you know it's going to be slippery, so you've got to plan off that correct foot. As an offense, New Mexico's not going to be ready for it." End quote. Chris, is this actually an edge for Aztecs football?
I don't think so. I think it's bad. I really, and it's obviously, here's the thing that I don't want to do. I don't want to make this seem like somehow it's San Diego State's fault. San Diego State gets more stuff happen that truly is not their fault, but that's dumped on them than any other school in history. What was the last thing I was trying to remember that got...
You know what's funny is this happened to me when I was trying to make my last point.
Yeah, I know. I had something else right here, and I can't think of it. But it was all made San Diego State look bad, and it was no fault of their own again. But, I mean, this is just a new stadium trying to get it right. And they obviously haven't quite figured out what they need to do to get the grass to grow properly on that field. But I don't know that it's something I bring up as an advantage. You know, I mean, I think it's kind of an embarrassment, I hate to say. You know, I want a good field. And I think it should be a good field. I hope they can get it sooner rather than later.
Tony, is this actually an advantage for Aztecs football?
It can be. I mean, the first thing that comes to mind when you read that was Coach Sean Lewis. It's clearly coming from him that this isn't going to be something we use as an excuse.
Yes, he doesn't. Right,
this is a message.
He's trying to twist it in the best way he can.
So I like that part. I like you taking, a variable that's been thrown at us that's really out of your hands and trying to spin it and use it in a way that is a positive for your team. But I think Chris is right. All in all, it's not a great look. I mean, and I don't think it's, again, as Chris kind of plainly stated, this isn't the Aztecs' fault per se, but you move into a new yard, you got a bunch of traffic on them, and it takes some time to figure out how the grass works, how it settles, all of that. I've learned that in my time playing Major League Baseball and seeing all of the different surfaces and teams trying different things. There is some trial and error. The unfortunate part for Snapdragon is there isn't a lot of time in between the trial and error. So it's like one team's on. You probably have about, at its peak right now, two games, NWSL ended. So you'll just have that game. But when the MLS season starts again, you'll have another team in there. You have a lot of things going on there.
Concerts.
But I'm confident they'll figure it out at some point.
I think they'll figure it out, but again,
it's not a good look right now.
Remember, you're in an age right now where kids are basically judging other schools to see where they want to go next. And if they think, hey, I'd love to go to San Diego State, and the next kid over says, oh, man, did you hear their field is terrible. You can't even walk. People are not going to want to come. And so you got to be everything matters now.
Yeah.
Your image is huge.
Yeah.
In terms of getting kids to come.
You guys are getting pushback about it not being San Diego State's fault because they own the venue. So how is it not their fault?
Okay. Well,
I mean, I don't
disagree. I don't know that.
I don't
think it's J.D. Wicker's fault the grass isn't growing.
That's what I'm getting at. I don't know that. Yes, and San Diego State owns it, and they're going to have to figure out how to keep the grass to a certain level.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
All right.
I don't know that I'm placing blame on the athletic program for that being the case. I mean, this is an institution issue, I think.
I'm going to blame Larry the grass
Chat room,
guy.
go about your business.
Okay, Chris.
Number 4.
They always try to correct somebody.
Actually, people really want Chris to read the chat, and he's never going to read the chat, I don't think. During the show, they want you to have the chat running, and I don't think that's a good idea.
No, I don't either. But when I go on the page here and I see how do I even
you have to
the
log
chat?
in so that you can see the chat.
Too much work. Sorry.
Yeah, I can't
there it
do
is.
that.
And then I got to text Paul because he's the gatekeeper of the
sealed
program.
He's never going to look at it ever again.
In order for USC for USC to hire Lincoln Riley in 2022, they had to spend around $28 million to get him in place. 19.7 of that is for Lincoln Riley's salary and buyout paid to Oklahoma,
and $9 million for his house.
His house, yeah, they paid off his house in Oklahoma too.
God.
$4.3 million of that was paid to former USC defensive coordinator Alex Grinch, and he's no longer with the team. And then $4 million went to Clay Helton, the former coach of USC, who was coaching at Georgia Southern, making 2 paychecks, which is kind of nice. That was all just in 2022. Now, Trojan fans want him gone. After a good 11-3 start to his USC career, Lincoln Riley followed up with an 8-5 season, and now this season the Trojans are 4-5, and they're 1-4 in their last 5 games. So people are unhappy. His salary is around $110 million for the entirety of the contract, and many think USC and Lincoln Riley are just going to be stuck with each other. Tony, what should USC do?
Nothing. We listen now, especially in this situation. You already been paying people you're not employing anymore for a long time, and those were in the grand scheme of payments chump change to what you'll have to pay.
It's like 70-something million.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So you know what?
Or 90.
I'm not going to sit here and say you made your bed lying it, because I think he still has a chance to. Lincoln Riley still has a chance to salvage this. Maybe not this year, but moving forward. But this is why you can't just hire a guy and fire a guy when it's going bad for you at some point. It's not a good idea.
Yeah.
And listen, you brought a guy in from, what was that? That was Oklahoma was in the SEC at the time, right? Because they had already moved to the SEC.
Yeah.
I
mean, brought Caleb Williams with you, so
he got you some wins early, and now is the time. And now is the time where he's trying to actually build the program. That's going to take time. He was able to jump start it with Caleb Williams. I believe he got another dude from my man from Pittsburgh, who's with the Vikings now.
Addison.
Oh yeah, that's right.
They brought in a bunch of guys that helped them start that first year, but now here comes the build part.
Chris, what should USC do?
Fire him immediately. Here's a couple of things. USC is 4-5, as you said. They're 2-5 in the conference. There's only 3 teams below them, and one of those is Maryland, who they lost to. So, I mean, this has been a really extraordinarily bad season for USC, especially when they opened it by beating LSU. And it's all been downhill since then. Now, I think they're going to give them a little more time. But the notion that USC's ever going to run out of money to pay coaches is ludicrous. They'll have endless money from now until the end of time. And frankly, I'm rooting against USC. And I'm rooting against UCLA and the Oregons and the Washingtons and the Stanfords and the Cals, because they all bounced for more money. And guess what, USC? That means you got to travel across the country to play Maryland, and you lose.
The only
and
one
you got to travel all the way to Minnesota, and you got to travel here and travel there. And Stanford and Cal are both getting their butts kicked every week traveling to North Carolina. So I'm happy about it.
Yeah,
I imagine they'll all adjust at some point. But that's just a lot of stuff to put your kids through just so you can make more bank.
I tell you what, it feels like the only team that's having instant success is Oregon.
Yeah, Washington's having a mediocre season also.
Everybody else is struggling.
Yep, you're right.
Well, Dan Lanning.
He's the man.
Dan Lanning.
He's from the SEC, too. He was from Auburn, so he knows what to do.
Come on, Tony. His wife had cancer.
I'm sorry, Dan.
Heartless
You're
guy.
Right. You're right. I like you now.
As the noise continues to grow around the struggling Chicago Bears, wide receiver DJ Moore addressed a situation where he took himself off the field as a play was still unfolding during last Sunday's 29-2-9 loss to the Arizona Cardinals. Here is DJ Moore being asked about it by the media.
Tweaked ankle. I was coming back because I seen Caleb scrambling, and like ankle went in and out. I was already couldn't stop, so my momentum took me out of bounds, and then I just walked off. Which the noise, I hear it, seeing it, really didn't care. So it is what it is.
You understand why people saw that as a bad look?
I mean, they could take it how they want to. They wish they did, and without even knowing what happened mid-play. So, I mean, can't stop y'all from doing what y'all want to do.
So there is DJ Moore, which is a very interesting way to deliver that message. Chris, you are up first. Rate his response.
About a 1. Especially for a guy that just got a huge contract extension this year to make him millions and gazillions for the rest of his career. He's turned in
4 years, $110 million.
Yeah, he's turned in a very mediocre performance this year for a young quarterback who could use him. And I want people to own up to their their lazy play. Now, he hurt his ankle. I do. I want you to
Here
say.
we go, calling people lazy.
I do. I want to say, you know what? I turned my ankle on the play, and it took me out of bounds. It was a bad look, but I understand people being upset about it. He didn't say he understood people being upset about it. He said, y'all can think what you want to think.
He did say that.
And I'm not a fan of that. So, you know what, Tony? I'm not ripping him for lazy play. I'm ripping him for just giving
That's
the
fair.
old.
That's fair.
You want to do what you want to do.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
that's
Come,
fair.
just
That's
attack
fair.
it. Attack it straight up.
Tony, rate his response.
That I can agree with. His response was a 1. Because he could have answered that in the way that Chris is suggesting. And he could have given credence to why he did what he did. But instead, he kind of took the salty, I read the comments attitude about it. And I'm not going to give you guys the benefit of the doubt and tell you what really happened. I'm just going to tell you guys you can believe what you want to believe.
For $28 million a year, DJ, we deserve to know
Yeah,
what
there's
happened.
a little responsibility that's given with that loot.
All it tells me is that this coach has no
It
control over
doesn't
this
tell
team.
you nothing, Scraby.
His coach has no control over his team.
He
right
just
now.
tries it again after Tony said, you don't know anything. He looks at me and he says the same thing, hoping that I'll support him.
All right, we got another rate this apology from
Number 2.
Mike Gundy, our favorite Oklahoma State coach.
I'm a 40. I'm a man.
I'm 40. I'm a man. But here is what he said after people were criticizing him for his poor season so far. He did this in the Monday media call.
Unfortunately, in life, most people are weak, and as soon as things start to not go as good as what they thought, they fall apart and they panic. And then they want to point the finger and blame other people. You see it happen in everyday life. People do it all the time. That's why I refuse to watch the TV and watch the news, because I get tired of people complaining and bitching about this and that versus just doing something about it and trying to figure out a way to make it better. Well, that's what happens in college athletics. And as Jenny said, she's exactly right. It's just on the bigger stage where people can voice their opinion. And in most cases, the people that are negative and voicing their opinion are the same ones that can't pay their own bills. They're not taking care of themselves. They're not taking care of their own family. They're not taking care of their own job, but they have an obligation to speak out and complain about others because it makes them feel better.
There you go. That was the gist of the conversation right there with Mike Gundy. Tony, hold on. Rate this. Here's his apology that he released on Twitter. I apologize to those who my comments during Monday's media call offended. My intent was not to offend any of our fans who have supported us in this program through the years. That's it. Tony, rate this.
That was sincere.
We might have to hold this over, but you're going to have to rate this
over.
apology from 1 to 10. 1 being pitiful and 10 being all is forgiven.
You didn't give those same parameters for my man, DJ Moore.
Okay, rate DJ Moore's response. 1 being a spoiled NFL football player.
I love how you changed that one up.
And 10 being a guy who's right.
I already gave a 1 on that.
Okay, we'll see.
I'm
what
gonna give
Mike
it a
Gundy...
2 since you said 1 is a spoiled NFL player. I'm gonna give it a 2 then.
Since we're going to do the carryover, I also have a story of a runner who has been banned from the New York City Marathon for an e-bike. I'll tell you what happened when we get back on 97.3 The Fan.
Happy hour. Gwynn and Chris, Tony Gwynn Jr., Chris Ello, Matt Scraby. 5 o'clock football hour is presented by Buffalo Wild Wings, where B-Dubs is football. Visit Buffalo Wild Wings every Wednesday for half-price apps and $2 off all tall drafts.
Ooh, and this is the happy hour, but it only gets better from here.
Indeed.
6 o'clock hour Chronicles, 7 o'clock hour, the debut of Sam Levitt's Inside San Diego Baseball.
Non-stop, hard-hitting sports talk radio right here on 97.3 The Fan.
The rest of the way.
Should I bring Sam on? I plan to have him on the Scraby Show before his, just a little crossover. Should I just ask
You're just trying to steal an extra 5-10 minutes for your own show.
I can talk. I go over a lot, Tony.
Are you telling me that Sam isn't going to start till 7:15?
No, what I'm telling you is I'm going to ask him about all of his topics he's going to talk about in the 2 hours.
Oh, he's not on an hour. He's on 2 hours.
7 to 9.
Oh, 7 to 9.
Yeah,
even better.
Wednesdays.
Bless his heart with all this just plethora of baseball
kidding,
news
Sammy.
to
Good
give
luck
up.
to you, buddy.
Italian Paul is going to be here, so it's going to be nice to have someone in studio.
Wait, what?
Frank is called Italian Paul. When he fills it in the morning.
Instead of Paul, he's
Italian Paul.
Oh, okay. I was like, what?
Those guys you can't keep up with those guys in the morning, Tony.
There he is, Italian Paul walking by right now.
Italian Paul right there.
The morning show guys are so quirky and inventive.
You're looking good, man.
Just can't keep up with them.
I mean, that's been his nickname for a long time.
Never heard it.
Never heard it either.
I think they call Adam Bald something.
I'm gonna leave that one alone.
Okay,
let's go ahead and get to our not crossover.
Gundy. All right, so if you're just tuning in, Mike Gundy is having a tough season at Oklahoma State. He did a media thing on Monday with reporters, and he called the people of the fans of Oklahoma State. He said that they can't pay their bills and they're unhappy, and he really disparaged a lot of people out there. He made an apology. So, Tony, rate his apology from 1 to 10, being 1 being pitiful and 10 being all is forgiven.
This is going to be a 1.
Oh, it's Bald Reindl, by the way.
Bald Reindl. That's actually pretty funny.
So everything is revolves around
Anybody
Paul
who sits
Reindl.
in this chair has a nickname, either Italian Paul, Bald Reindl.
Bald Reindl. Yeah, no, this is a 1. And I'll say this. He's not necessarily wrong. Some of the loudest voices on Twitter are some of the folks who may not be taking care of business on their end. However, when you use the time that is given for you to explain why your football team sucks, and you choose to take it out on everybody who comes to watch you play.
Pays for tickets.
And, didn't they have the barcode on the back of their helmets for a little bit?
Yeah, and then it was deemed illegal.
But my point is, you were willing enough to ask those same people that you were just talking crazy to contribute to your program.
Good point.
So I would just say, at least have a good football team if you're going to go down this route. In which case, you probably aren't saying some of the same things you're saying right now.
No,
so
you're much more positive.
We should not be surprised by Mike Gundy and his choice of words.
He's had a few incidents
He's had well, not only this year, over time. I think we've known Mike Gundy for having these where he's crashed out.
What was it about the running back? He got a DUI before the year, and Mike's
he was,
I've had a couple of beers and gotten behind the wheel before.
We all have.
Yeah.
He's been a part of some great sound bites.
He has. That I'm a man. I'm 40. Will never die.
Never
Chris,
die.
1 to 10. Rate that apology.
1.2.
Oh,
I don't like him. I'm not a Mike Gundy fan. If you
He
ever
was rocking a mullet at like 45.
He was.
His whole thing with the karma police win again. He did this for his running back. He made an exception so his All-American running back could play this year, and now he hasn't won a game in the conference. So
karma.
Hello. But here's the thing, and I was looking for the quotes while you guys were talking, and I can't find it that quickly. But if you ever want to complain about the fans complaining about you despite your previous success, listen to the way Dabo Swinney did it last year for Clemson. And I don't remember everything he said, and maybe you don't remember it, Tony. But he basically, because Clemson was like 6-4 last year, and he was taken endless.
Yeah, he was.
And he's like, I've won the national the whole thing. But he went about it, I thought, in the right way. Which was, point out what you've been successful at and hold people accountable for not supporting you during some tougher times. Mike Gundy's just a whiner and a panty waist. I don't like him.
Sorry?
I don't even know.
I need to look that one up.
Yeah, I don't know.
Is that the same thing as a tiddlywink?
No, tiddlywink's a game with little plastic chips. Panty waist is just
a waist?
Somebody who's, just kind of soft.
What's the Urban Dictionary say, Tony?
Soft.
Early 20th century. In literal sense, child's garment consisting of panties attached to boat ice.
Okay.
The current census date from the 1930s.
Well, now we know where it came from. I mean, Chris was just...
I was just warming up in
30
those days.
years old.
The 1930s.
All right, final one. A running influencer from Texas has been disqualified from the New York City Marathon and banned from future New York City running events after he ran part of the course with people on e-bikes recording him on video. Here is Matt Choi is the guy who is the famous runner, the running influencer. Here he is talking about the situation.
I up. This wasn't a video I was planning on making, but I have no excuses, full stop. I was selfish on Sunday to have my brother and my videographer follow me around on the course on e-bikes, and it had serious consequences. We endangered other runners, we impacted people going for PBs, we blocked people from getting water, and with the New York City Marathon being about everyone else and about the community, I made it about myself. And for anyone I impacted, I'm sorry. To be clear, this was 100% on me. It wasn't my brother trying to get a shot. It wasn't my partners asking me to get content. I just got really excited about the thought of hitting sub 3 in New York, and I got overzealous about getting all the shots. I got an email from New York Roadrunners last night about the DQ and the lifetime ban at all future NYRR events. And although there's an opportunity to appeal it, I'm not going to. I made my bed, so I'm going to lay in it.
Is Mike Gundy? Can we get him tapped into that real quick?
So I finished with this one for a reason, because we were going to rate his apology now. Chris, 1 to 10, pitiful to all is forgiven.
I'm not giving all forgiven because he's still pretty pitiful for bringing a e-bike out onto the marathon course and wrecking a lot of people's day.
Yes, that is true.
Just because you apologize doesn't totally get you off the hook. But his apology was solid, and it seemed like it was well-intentioned.
And he's not going to, like, this stunned me watching this. I expected for him to be complaining and saying that they are singling him
that
out.
would have fit 2024
really
for
would.
sure.
But he said he's not going to appeal. Anyway, Tony, 1 to 10, rate that.
I agree with Chris. He can't be given a 10 because that would be full exoneration, and we're not. He give it an 8 though. I thought. He literally just did everything that we would have asked of a guy who's actually teaching young men. You know what I'm saying?
If you were to bullet point an apology, he just hit every bullet point.
He hit it, and there was no caveats. There was no buts. There was no, kind of diminishing what he did.
I don't really understand it, but still.
Yeah, he just owned it, and the fact that he's not going to appeal, which I feel like 99% of people would. I think he deserves some credit for that. So I give him an 8.
Is there any thought in your guys' mind this is a stunt because
Yes.
he is a running influencer? He has 400,000 Instagram followers.
I'm 100. The first thought is man, this is going way too clean. There's something. Is there something?
I was waiting for it too.
Trick at the end. But if it's not, legit apology.
All right, that's it for the Big Five, guys.
Somebody explain to me honestly the life of an influencer. Does that mean that everything they do from waking up, walking,
once they have enough
using
followers,
the restroom has to be videographed by some other poor sap?
No.
Once to follow them everywhere they go?
Once they have enough followers, it is just a game of content. How much can you create?
Okay.
And usually it's not going to have anything to do with the bathroom, but
But I have a better question than that then. Okay, I honestly do. I get the influencer because they can make a living off of this, right? They charge for it. They make money.
Some people.
They're definitely making.
Some people.
The influencers are definitely making my life as a parent much harder.
The people I would like to have a conversation with are the influencees.
What do you want to ask them?
I got a bunch of those.
Get your own life and stop watching somebody else live their life all the time.
Chris, I promise you.
Somebody explain it to me.
It's a generational thing, man.
Yeah. That's what I don't get.
We grew up playing video games. These kids grow up watching people
play video
games.
I mean, our commercial breaks are me playing video games.
I can't explain it.
Okay.
It doesn't seem like it would be fun at all to watch another person play video games, not even in front of you, on TV.
I mean, just living your own life rather than living the life of somebody else and watching them every minute.
I think there is a fine line, Chris.
I'm so old now because this just makes no sense to me.
No, there's a fine line between these people following everything that this person tells them to do, and I think most people just like their content. They pick up running tips from this guy, or they find out trails that they can go to. It's not like they're going to go buy something because of him. Some do, but if you're a good influencer, you're not really having to tell anyone to go do something. You're just kind of leading them there and hoping that they do.
That's the beauty. That's pretty much the job, is just being yourself, and people tag along, basically.
Rod would like to say, well, that's the bee's knees, Chris.
Hey, Rob, you panty waist.
Rod, you panty waist.
Oh, I had a better definition, too, for you guys, too. I forgot to give that one,
Thank you.
The noun, panty waist, is proven to be enduring in its figurative meaning, an ineffectual or childish man.
you go. Mike Gundy.
Boom.
Otherwise known
good.
as Mike Gundy.
That's pretty good. Was his picture next to that definition?
It wasn't. It
I'm
wasn't.
close. I'm right on the money there.
Chris, you should become an influencer of fixing garage doors. Like, you just go around to different people who need your help, and then you just fix them.
Why would I want to do that?
Because you would have so many people watching this hours long
The
struggling
comedy routine that is me trying to fix my garage.
Yes.
That would be the
Great
influence
content.
right there.
Yes. It's not about you fixing it. It's about you trying to fix
Yeah,
it.
not going to happen. Not going to happen.
All right, let's get to break. More happy hour coming your way. Here's some
Madness.
traffic.
From the 97.
All right, welcome back. 519. 519 is the time. Chris Ello, Tony Gwynn Jr., Matt Scraby. Little potpourri. A couple of things for you to leave you with here before we finish up the program with our Russ Dorsey interview. You'll know everything baseball. And Russ with some good opinions on what the Padres should and should not do. That's coming up shortly. Scraby Chronicles at 6. Sam Levitt's debut 7 to 9.
Is he in studio?
Oh yeah,
Of course. I bet he's here somewhere
Already getting ready.
Sam is the king of preparation. He makes the rest of us look really bad. When I used to do Padre pregame show, 4 o'clock pregame, I was at 3:58 coming in with my notes. Sam, 4 o'clock pregame is here at like noon.
He beats me to the field
Right?
sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, his preparation makes the rest of us look not so good.
Man, Sam must be a liker of his job.
I like Sam.
Or a lover
man.
of his job.
I
You're just
like
a
Sam.
liker
I was
of your
about
job.
to say, it's a different thing there,
Stop
buddy.
it.
It's love.
I get here pretty early too, so
You got work to do.
For our show?
yeah, I get here around
You do.
noon.
Yeah,
You're
well,
the first one here.
Tony and I are not the first ones here, but we start working at home, putting all together the stuff that you don't do.
Where is the proof of this?
Fantabulous Game Show.
We got
Okay,
I
I'll
got
give you that.
I
I'll
got
give you
text
that.
messages
Good, bad,
up the
ugly.
wazoo.
I'll give you that.
Good, bad, ugly.
I'll give you that. I mean,
Daily
you like
Gambit.
the good, bad, and ugly.
I'll give you that. I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
I'll give you that.
Tony gets half your guests. Come on.
Tony's helped me out with the guests.
We're a team.
Chris has helped me out with the
We are a team.
Daily Gambit and the
Except when
Fantabulous.
Scraby throws us under the bus to the boss man. That's the only time we're not a team.
When did I do that?
Yeah, you do it quite often.
Really?
Yeah.
Yesterday.
No, you guys did that to yourselves yesterday.
You left the mic on during a commercial break.
No one heard anything.
He was trying to sabotage us right
Although
there.
Adam did say he heard me saying his
Hey,
name.
That's right.
I was outside
See?
the room and I saw Adam come sprinting in. I was like, what happened? Hot mic. That's all I heard.
I got phone calls from our great listeners like, hey, you have a hot mic right now. I got text messages.
You know, he's probably extra sensitive to that because when he sat in for you, we had hot mics rolling pretty much the whole entire time.
Because Tony was used to you turning his mic off and Adam wasn't turning it off.
I just do like a 3-finger thing, a boom, everything's off at the same time.
Yeah.
Dak Prescott thinking, speaking of things that are off.
I wasn't the only one
Dak
today.
Prescott.
Yes.
Cowboy quarterback, that guy. Partial avulsion of his right hamstring. Tony, will you explain what that means to the people?
I don't know what that means.
Oh, you don't know?
It
It
just
means that
sounded
part
bad.
of the tendon is pulled away from the bone. Yeah. Anyway, Prescott's on injured reserve. Minimum of 4 games.
I love how everybody's like, man, Dak's game stinks. He can't run anymore. Then he runs and he gets hurt.
Oh, hamstring pulls apart.
I think Dak's season's probably pretty close to over.
I think Dallas'
he hasn't
season-
played well. Dallas' season's over.
I know Jerry Jones is still playing like they got a shot.
You get Jonathan Mingo. I mean, things start looking up pretty quick for the Cowpokes.
Good old Jonathan Mingo.
Yeah, Browns general manager Andrew Berry was asked today about the future of Deshaun Watson.
I think this is a stupid question, honestly.
Is it a dumb question?
I think it's a dumb question.
Okay.
And I think here's why. As a GM, why would I put myself in a box when I don't have to actually speak on this until he's
healthy again?
Close to playing a football game.
Right.
For now, it's going to be whoever they got, James, and likely they could sign somebody during the offseason after this.
I think if you're the general manager, though, you take that opportunity to out the owner who's boxed you into a corner by making you play this idiotic $46 million guy you signed.
So you out the owner and be jobless, basically?
Perfect. That's a quick way to the sidewalk.
Yeah, no, I'm basically saying I understood why he was non-committal on that at all.
Yeah, a couple of injury notes. Isaiah not likely to play for the Ravens Thursday night. T. Higgins still doubtful for the Bengals. It is a Bengal-Ravens matchup on Thursday night.
Didn't they just
Football
play?
Tomorrow. They played earlier. This is the second meeting of the year. Week 10.
That's always a good game.
Usually is. Ravens won the first one.
Ravens Bengals?
Yeah, Ravens won last one 41-38 in OT. So
I
that
have
was
a
good
question
game.
for you guys. I talked
That
about
was
this
early, too. Wasn't it first, second game of the
Third
season?
or fourth. Yeah, third, yeah.
I talked about this on the Scraby Show last night, but Joe Burrow was asked about his RBF demeanor on the sideline, and
What's
can't
RBF?
say
Resting bleep face.
Yeah, resting bleep face.
Gotcha. All right. He gave a scowl to somebody?
Well, people were asking about that because they won handily. They were up. It was not something. He played well. It wasn't something like
so
he
they
needed
wanted
to be upset. But he said
they wanted him smiling and laughing.
He said
and
he
giggling.
he wasn't happy with it, and so he said as a part of his leadership and growth as a leader,
takes it serious.
He takes it serious, and he knows that people are looking to him to set the tone for how we should feel.
I remember
during a game.
The late great Kobe Bryant being asked after a game in which they were up 3-1. He was scowling. You're not happy with this? What's there to be happy about? Have we won yet?
4-1.
It's not done yet. Job's not finished.
I don't recall Jordan doing a lot of laughing. Best competitors, I think they play it through. I have no problem with Joe Burrow.
Nah, not at all.
Doing that. Some baseball news real quick. Of course, we know the Padre news. If you don't, we'll repeat it. Mike Shildt, 2-year contract extension has been taken care of. Angels. Can we say October baseball?
Mm-hmm.
The Angels have acquired free agent pitcher Kyle Hendricks from the Cubs. Kyle Hendricks is 34. His best days were behind him when he was 29. I don't understand paying $2 million for a guy that's barely going to be your fifth starter if he's good enough to do that.
Wait, they're only paying him $2 million?
Yeah, but that's $2 million wasted dollars. To me, is still $2 million wasted dollars. What are you going to get for Kyle Hendricks?
What are you going to get from the guys you got, though? I mean, $2 million is like, in baseball terms,
nickel
is like chump change.
All right. St. Louis Cardinals slugger Wilson Contreras making a permanent move from catcher to first base.
Yeah, there was a lot of conversation last year when he arrived that, some of the pitchers, including Jack Flaherty, weren't all that
they didn't like
excited
throwing to him.
And then, he had the incident last year. He's trying to steal strikes, gets his forearm blasted on a swing. And so they've decided the experiment is over. They're moving him to first base.
First base for him. I heard Mookie Betts is asking to move to the infield.
This one
I don't know that he asked, but they are going to
moving him
move
back.
They are moving
my
him.
guess is they're not moving a guy like Mookie Betts unless he wants to be moved.
Well, does that mean they get rid of Gavin Lux or move Tommy Edman to center
Maybe
field?
that is true.
No, I mean,
I don't know.
Tommy Edman is going. The beautiful thing about Tommy is he can play center, second, third.
Right.
He can play a bunch of different spots,
Yeah.
so that makes him valuable. Gavin Lux is a second baseman for him. He was the shortstop until he ran into that
He still
throwing
can't
issue.
throw.
Yeah,
You watch him at second
you
base,
can
he
see
barely gets to throw to first
You can
many
see it.
times.
You could
Yeah.
definitely see it.
One other baseball note, which I think is interesting. Skip Schumacher yesterday was hired as an advisor with the Rangers. That got everybody in Texas, Dallas area thinking, that means
Coach
Bruce
in
Bochy's
waiting.
being pushed out and Schumacher will be the next guy. That is maybe the truth, but the Rangers are denying the fact that Boch is being pushed out. In fact, the Rangers are saying if he wants to manage beyond next year, 2025, we hope he does.
Yeah, I don't think CY would ever do Boch like that.
Right. Chris Young would never do that to Bruce
I don't think he
Bochy.
would do Boch like that.
Yeah, so...
I have one, a little potpourri that'd make you
How old's Boch? Guesses?
I'm going to say
73.
72?
73.
That's what I'm going with.
He's a youngster. He's 69.
Oh, wow.
Turned 70 in
I was about
April.
to say, he couldn't be that. He's not that much older than my dad would have been.
Right,
He was
turned
a
70 in
vet.
April.
Okay. Here, I think you'll like this one, Chris. This will make you feel so warm and fuzzy.
Oh, boy.
Top CFB conferences invited to hear Super League pitches in December Summit. ACC, SEC, Big Ten are scheduled for this
Summit
League.
meeting. Yeah, they're going to leave the rest of college football. If you don't see the writing on the wall for that, you're just not paying attention.
They're like, shh, don't tell anybody.
The Aztecs are praying that the Pac-12 will somehow be able to hook up with enough, a couple of more schools somehow, some way, so that when the rest of college football breaks off, they'll get included.
Right.
But I'm not counting on it.
It's slow developing right now.
Yeah, well, it'll take a while, but it's not going to be much longer before there's a 50 or 60 team Super League in college football. I mean, there kind of already is. There's just not the designation of it.
I hope they leave us basketball still, where everybody can be involved.
Because basketball, we can play there at the top.
Everybody can play.
And honestly, in fairness to the Aztecs, I don't have to be fair to them, but I don't think they could afford to play with the Alabamas and the Tennessees and the Ohio States the way the landscape of the game is now. Football.
It's a tricky landscape.
Right. It's not the same rules for each school. Everybody's pretty much got their own now.
Yeah. It's the Wild Wild West for sure.
Russ Dorsey talking baseball in the final segment of today's show. Stick around.
Free agents.
listening to 97.3 The Fan. You can see what you missed and click to listen on demand. Missed a guest feature, or if something crazy, like things tend to do here on this show, from earlier, we've got you covered. Download the free Odyssey app, search 97.3 The Fan, and tap earlier today, in quotes.
If you tap earlier today, it's going to take you back to a whole litany of stuff that's happened.
How did we come in here hot today? It was a specific subject.
We went on the, oh, my goodness.
What was the subject we got on, Scrape?
Yeah, it was
Let
a
me go
long,
look at my
lengthy...
notes.
No, it was a whole
you had
15 minutes.
You had a special title for
Yes. To robe or not to robe?
That's right, the bathroom
We talked
robe.
about wearing bathroom robes, and we actually didn't talk about wearing them. We talked about hating to wear bathroom robes.
None of it. Well, at least I don't think. Yeah, I think all of us ended on all three
We went
of us.
3 for 3 on that one. Yeah,
not big fans of bathroom robes, especially
not even little fans.
Yeah, although we did take the hotel robe over the Scraby robe.
But
it was the guys. Would you wear my robe or would you wear a random hotel robe? And they said random, disgusting.
Well, there were some
hotel robe.
caveats, though. There were some caveats.
Yeah, the random hotel robe does come with the possibility that it hasn't been washed in like 7 years.
It does come with risk.
Yeah, true that.
Currently, my Lake Show down 6 in Memphis. Memphis wearing the old school Vancouver Grizzlies uniform.
I just love the home team wearing white. That's
How
the
about
way
that?
it should be in the
How
NBA.
about and the Lakers are wearing purple.
That's the way I like it.
So nice. We watched last year where it was, and I haven't paid close enough attention this year to see if they're continuing with that fad of wearing road uniforms at home.
Yeah, they are. Every game's a mishmash. Every game's a complete mishmash. You don't know what you're going to get in terms of home or away, and who's wearing the dark colors or white. So the NBA likes that. They sell more jerseys that way. And oh my goodness, it comes down to money. Go figure.
Currently, Warriors ahead 42-38. I'm about to get into this box score to see what Mr. Tatum
Tatum's doing so far.
See if he's
lighting it up,
trying to take out Steve Kerr and his team. Right now, he currently has 8.
8 for Jason Tatum so far. What's he shoot?
2 of 7.
2 of 7. He's firing away.
Yeah,
firing
8
away.
points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 17 minutes.
All right.
They're down 4.
Long way to go.
Yeah, little ways to go. What else we got in the scoreboard category? Your Bulls have not. Oh, I've got my echo going on over here.
Wait, what's happening here? Oh, is that because
he's programming your computer?
He's programming a laptop over there, and he's
Once again, not participating on the show. He's just doing his own thing.
He's creating a disturbance.
just distracting me over here.
Do you want me to just leave Chris without a computer?
I'm just saying. I'm distracted. I hear myself talking. It's
Created
like
a disturbance.
It's like our guy Manfred. That's why he was talking like he was on drugs because he couldn't.
Are you over there giving us a tremendous performance?
Yeah, I didn't hear anything about you slurring your words over there. So.
No, I was able to keep composed a little bit.
He caught himself.
In some sad news, former Dodger Fernando Valenzuela was laid to rest today at his funeral. He passed last week, and that was certainly a sad time.
It's actually been 2 weeks.
Has it been 2 weeks now?
Yeah, October 22nd, age of 63. Great Fernando.
So he was laid to rest today
in Los Angeles.
Yeah. That's all I got, guys. I don't know if I can stall anymore.
I don't think you have to
Okay.
stall anymore. Of course, it was mentioned that the Dodgers won the World Series this year. Fernando was witness to them winning. They mixed that together.
If I'm not mistaken, they won it on his birthday. I think his birthday was not
Pretty
that
sure
long
you're
after.
right. Yeah.
Nonetheless, let's get to our interview of the day. Russ Dorsey, Yahoo Sports, caught up with us at the GM meetings.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Well, could it be that some of you are getting used to driving home in the dark? Yeah, just a couple things to mention here, guys. Southbound side of the 5 near 8th Street, there is a collision involving car and a motorcycle. Appears to be in the center divide. We also got a collision reported out on the eastbound 8 right before Johnson Avenue. A couple vehicles involved there over to the right shoulder. I'm Kelly Danick with Gwynn and Chris, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Russ Dorsey, Yahoo Sports, joins us. He's in San Antonio at the GM meetings, and he actually had a call scheduled for earlier, but he was literally in a conversation with the GM at the time, so we had to postpone it. But Russ is here now. Russ, how are you, my friend?
My guy, what's going on? How we feeling?
We are fantastic. I got to ask, right? You show up in San Antonio. It's November 5th, 6th, and I would imagine that the GMs feel like it's a little too early to see guys like you. But here you guys are. They're getting ready to have all these conversations, and here you come with your recorder. I mean, is everybody in baseball mode in terms of wheeling and dealing at this point?
Well, brother, I will say this. Maybe I think it's a little too early to see now.
I know that's right.
I was out in California the entire month of October. Only got a couple days at home before getting back in action and getting everybody geared up for the off season. But no, I think a lot of GMs, they, as much as they like the time off and time away, if their teams didn't advance in the postseason, they want to make sure they get their teams better for this upcoming year. So it's a fun time. I think you already feel the buzz of the off season and what free agency potentially holds, and maybe some trades that are on the horizon. But yeah, I think a lot of the executives, even agents who are here, are excited for what the next 8 to 12 weeks have in store.
Russ Dorsey, also catch him on the MLB Network. That's where I caught him yesterday, holding court. And Russ, let's just run to the Padres because I know you don't have as much time. AJ Preller, honestly, and I don't think this is just a local view, did a hell of a job last offseason. I mean, everything he did worked, and he was able to, despite lowering payroll, put together a 93-win team, the second most in franchise history. This year, I mean, who knows whether they're going to be able to increase payroll, but he has a lot of contracts that increase on their own. He also has a Joe Musgrove injury to deal with, and he has a couple of key free agents, at least in Jurickson Profar and Kyle Higashioka, and Hassan Kim has already opted out. So where would you start if you were A.J. Preller?
Well, look, I agree with you that I think A.J., and I think a lot of people around baseball would agree that it might be the best job A.J.'s ever done in terms of putting together a roster with the specific set of circumstances that they had, whether it was, Joe Musgrove's injury late in the year, being able to bring back Jurickson Profar, putting him at the top of that lineup, getting Fernando Tatis Jr. healthy, what they were able to do with their bullpen at the trade deadline. That was a team that a lot of people were afraid of going into October.
Yeah.
And I believed, talking to you guys, whoever won that series in the NLDS, between the Dodgers and the Padres, was going to end up winning World Series. That did end up happening as the Dodgers defeated the Yankees. But I think when I look at where the Padres should start, I think it is going to be that pitching again, because you have so many of your core position players locked up for the foreseeable future. You can now start to, really focus in on that pitching. And you look at Tanner Scott and what he was able to do in the back end of that bullpen. I think for me, if I'm looking at, an area where you say, okay, this is how you can ensure that you once again have the best bullpen in baseball, I think Tanner Scott, even though he has pitched so well, he is going to have a lot of suitors out there on the market. That's a guy that you likely want to bring back if it's possible. And then you can never have too much starting pitching. As you guys know, you're going to need more than 5 guys to get through an entire season and to get through the postseason, as the Dodgers showed. So I think pitching is where, to me, I would start if I was the San Diego Padres.
Russ Dorsey joins us here, Yahoo Sports. And Russ, you kind of hit on it as you started to answer the first question, but it does feel like, typically GM meetings can go one of two ways. There could be like absolutely nothing happening, or it could be like it feels like it is so far this year, where there's some buzz, there's already some wheeling and dealing. Is that the sense that you have gotten since you've been down that way in San Antonio?
Yeah, I think the first couple of days of the offseason and the GM meetings, it's kind of everybody's feeling each other out. Teams are feeling where other teams are in terms of the trade market. Teams are feeling agencies out in terms of the players that are on the free agent market. Agencies are doing the same thing with teams. What teams have spots on their roster available? What teams might be looking for? You have a lot of agencies that have multiple players on the market. So you have maybe you have an agent like a Scott Boras that has a ton of clients,
Right.
a ton of the top clients on the market, whether it's Corbin Burns or Juan Soto or Pete Alonso, all available. You might be talking to one team about 5 different players. So I think it's a feeling out of sorts. And for people that aren't, you're more aware of the winter meetings, the GM meetings kind of sets the table for the offseason. It's where teams say, okay, these are our needs. You meet with your other members of your front office. You meet with other teams. You meet with agencies, and you say, okay, where could a fit be made, right? Like, where could we improve our roster? And you go from there. And then I would say the next couple of weeks before we get to Dallas to the winter meetings, then you're going to start seeing some of these deals come to fruition. We saw Michael Wacha already agree to a deal earlier in the week. So I think you'll start to see a little bit more action as, we leave here tomorrow and head towards the winter meetings.
Russ, what do you think's going to end up happening with Juan Soto, and how much is how much for him? I mean, whether it's the Dodgers, Yankees, Mets, those seem to be the only 3 that legitimately would seem to have a shot at it. Is he going to break the bank here, or how much is he going to break the bank by?
Yeah, I think that's been player, different situation, but I do believe it'll be past $500 million. If I had to put a number on it, I would say somewhere between $550 and $575 million, and that would likely be stretched out over 13 or 14 years. That's a lot of money for a guy who showed that he can perform in the biggest of moments for you like he did with the Yankees. So I don't know what that team is. I think the vibe talking to people this week has been that it will likely be a head-to-head matchup between the Yankees and the New York Mets. I think the Yankees showed him hey, this can all be yours, in terms of like Lion King, where Mufasa says anything the light touches is yours, Simba. That's what Hal Steinbrenner and Brian Cashman could say to Juan Soto. But I think at the same time, the Mets actually have a real opportunity here, right? They showed a lot of Major League Baseball what they were going to be able to do, going to the NLCS, Francisco Lindor, being the leader of that club. And they're a team that's still on the rise. And the one trump card that they have that other teams don't have is they can pay him more than any other team in baseball, because Steve Cohen is the richest owner in all of Major League Baseball. So that's a real threat. And I think the Yankees know that. And it is not going to be a walk in the park to make sure that Juan Soto returns to the Bronx.
Steve Cohen is MLB's Steve Ballmer's on our side. I mean, that's kind of money he's dealing with. Last one from me, Russ, and there's been a lot of conversations in regards to Juan Soto and where he possibly ends up. You mentioned that number. AAV is kind of the thing that guys will turn to when they can't get max dollars. We know he's represented by Scott Boras. Scott Boras, at least today, seemed pretty confident. There's a lot of people who've written off Scott Boras after last year's, I would say, disappointing free agency. Some of those guys back at it again. Where do you think, in terms of Scott Boras, how do you think his winter goes? I mean, because a lot of people think he's washed now because he had a bad year last year. I'm telling you guys, I tend to see Scott Boras rise back up to the occasion quite often.
Yeah, I think last offseason was more about the players on the market, not necessarily about Scott Boras. I think Scott, as we have all talked about over the last year, maybe made some missteps. But I also think this year he has, you could say, 7 of the top 12, 13 free agents that are available, right? When you can have the best position player, best overall free agent in Juan Soto available, but also having the best starting pitcher available in Corbin Burns, right? That's a pretty good spot to be in, right? And people can call you washed all you want, but if I have a position player that's going to get 560 $60 million and a starting pitcher that will likely get over $300 million, I'm feeling pretty good, and I'm not really worried about what everybody else is saying about me being washed. If that's washed, a lot of people want to be washed.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt about it. I mean, he consistently gets the best players in the game. Therefore, he will always be relevant. Russ, we know you got to go, man. I know you got that 3 o'clock GM conference that's about to happen. I appreciate your time, man, and we'll do it again later.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Russ.
Russ Dorsey, Yahoo Sports. Great minds think alike.
Yeah,
Wow.
you and you.
That was not planned in the least.
You talking over you.
It wasn't planned at all. Russ Dorsey, as always, a pleasure to have on. The 5 o'clock football hour is presented by Buffalo Wild Wings, where B-Dubs is football. Visit Buffalo Wild Wings every Wednesday for half-priced apps and $2 off all tall drafts.
Sweet.
We are coming to an end. Scraby Chronicles follows, and then the debut of Sammy Lev.
Season premiere, as you said.
Season premiere. What's the show called again?
Inside San Diego Baseball.
Inside San Diego. ISB.
Produced and directed by Sam Levitt. Starring Sam Levitt.
ISDB.
I think Frank is it needs to be on the
does he
credits.
get credit for producer role?
He has to put up with Sam every time.
Shout out to Italian Paul because he's in here looking good, man. He's taking care of himself, lost a bunch of weight.
Yeah.
He's looking fantastic.
Yeah.
Love it. Love to see it.
I'm going to have to ask him about that on the Scraby Show because Frank's going to be helping me out on Wednesdays too, so that's awesome. I get someone to help
Chronicles will have a little help.
You know, it's going to be really
Chronicles
strange.
is no longer a solo show then, huh? You get
For
a little,
one day.
Oh, just for one day.
Have you officially changed the name as you're supposed to by now?
What is taking so long?
I don't get it.
I don't think your listeners like it as the Scraby Show. I think they like it as the Chronicles.
I've told you the Chronicles is too long of a name.
It's not. It's not.
I've already made all the graphics.
You can make new graphics. I've seen you do it before.
Yeah, but you can't fit Chronicles is a long
Scraby
word.
Crons.
No,
can't do that.
Everyone's gonna be like, you got Crohn's disease?
Not sure I like the Crons necessarily.
I was trying to come up with I was trying to meet you
the
halfway
Cron.
there, man. I'm trying to keep it a little smaller.
Maybe one day.
Can't you make the font smaller for Chronicles?
I could. You see, I have my sweatshirt on. Well, this is just great, everybody. And
we've seen that tired
sweatshirt.
This
is just great, everybody.
You wear it every day now. This is like you part of your black.
Your go-to.
I tried to spread it apart.
Spread it
I
apart.
wore my Nike sweatshirt yesterday because I didn't want to.
You did have a Nike one yesterday, so
I
you're just
just
going between the
alternate.
Nike and this one.
Yes, I just have a bunch of sweatshirts in my car, to be honest, that I just keep taking out because
that seems about right.
I know it's going to be freezing in here.
Yeah,
like
no, that's
Chris
a fact.
never brings a sweatshirt.
I never
which is
understand. And he
crazy.
always has his open shoes too. Like he's never in here with socks.
It's crazy. It's so cold.
Oh, he's got full shoes on today. He must be going to play softball.
Yeah, I am.
I knew it.
Chris, how do you not become so cold?
Because I love to be. Because I enjoy being cold.
I mean, it's not just cold. It's like ice
cold,
chilly.
Cold keeps me alert.
No, that's a fact. Because heat
Warmth
puts me right to sleep. Yeah, I'm with that.
I like to be cold. I keep my air conditioning on in the car at a low level, but I have it on 24/7. In the rain, nighttime, daytime.
What about the snow?
The air's always.
Yeah, we don't have that,
I don't
buddy.
drive in the snow very often. Silly.
We're gonna have to take him
in
up
the snow
to Julian to see if he's pumping that AC during a snowstorm.
I would be.
Gotta have a cold room.
Serious.
For sure. All right, that's going to do it for tonight's show. Chronicles follows. Have a good night.